What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show.
So I lived in this wild place in Reseda, California, where like 16 people lived there. And if you look at it from the outside, it's just a gate and it looks like damn near a trailer park in there. But rent was $350. There's a bed there. Cool. I'm 19. And there was people in and out constantly in this commune. And my roommates would change week by week. I went home for Christmas and I came home. I came back and apparently there was this girl here that this happened. And I started talking to my friend and he's like, bro, she's been acting crazy. Where she's standing in the middle of the yard. I'm standing on one foot, squeezing her fist, like white knuckling it, acting wild. And like hair in front of her face, a little Asian girl. Freaky situation, right? She's harassing everybody.
This is real.
That's real.
I want to start hopping on the Zyn Wave. You're on the Zyn Wave, huh?
I'm not on the Zyn Wave. I never had it in my life. No,
I'm surprised, man.
I never did dip in my life. I never did. I'm like, that shit looks amazing. I'm not doing that. I'll be doing it all day.
Because you're a coffee fiend. I figured you'd be.
I'm not a coffee fiend. I honestly, like, I'll have some on the desk when I'm recording, and then sometimes I'll have a midday when I'm working, but I water down my coffee now. Like, because I don't really like having the idea of like having to rely on caffeine. So there was a point last spring where actually for the first time I felt like I was like habitually going and making like a strong coffee like every day at like 2 o'clock. And I was like, there's no way, like coffee's good for you, but like not when you're all the time on it. That's kind of my thought. But
so you don't have a crutch with like anything really.
I try not to.
Good.
Yeah. I try not to.
I mean, you don't need it, bro. You have your crazy photographic memory and you're locked in. This guy has a brain like nobody else. Yeah. He knows the episode number of what our first when I was on his podcast.
Oh yeah.
It was 3 years ago. He knows that. Yeah.
I'll give you the timestamp.
Yeah, exactly.
Really? All day.
It's not even a joke, dude. It's insane.
Yeah, but actually, right before we begin, because we have the Dougie Corrado in here. Welcome to New Jersey, by the way.
Appreciate it. It's very fun to be here. I love it. I love it here.
You know what? That's the first person to say that in a while. I appreciate it.
I
was losing some pride in Jersey.
This area is beautiful. Like I love it a lot.
Record this.
Yeah. I thought we were going. I thought you did a slow roll.
We are recording. Yeah. That's funny. But yeah, Hoboken's like a fun little town. There's only like 60,000 people here.
The view of Manhattan, you get to see all the prettiness without all the gross. It's fantastic.
Right. But your channel's awesome. We're going to talk about that today. Yeah. You're like, what do you call yourself? The story boy?
They call me story boy. Chop chop story boy.
Love that. So we're going to go through like your life is kind of interesting too. Like you've done some wild shit. But before we begin, I got to shout out. You probably heard at the beginning, we have a little co-host today. My man Johnny Drinks, aka John Rondi.
What's up, everybody? I'm gonna take a back seat though today. I'm just spectating. I'm gonna chime in when I feel necessary, but it's your guys' show.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, John's got a great TikTok and YouTube that we were looking at before. But I do got to say this because like you understand, and obviously John understands too. But like when you start content, you're starting on zero. You start with nothing. You're trying to get somewhere. So I was drying myself off for like 7 months before I had anyone listening to this thing, and about 4 months in, a friend of mine connected me with John, who had already blown up online, and he had never known me before. Drove down 2.5 hours to South Jersey to my parents' house, sat there for 3.5 hours on camera, another 4 hours off camera.
That was the longest day. That was about 8 hours. And then, you're right, dude. I didn't even know you. I don't know what made me even do it. I mean, I guess you were the homie, or who connected us?
It was Mitch.
Mitch?
No.
Was it Mitch or Fenyu?
It was Fenyu, but you knew Mitch.
Right, and I was like, yeah, of course, come by. It was an 8-hour day. And
because of production or because you guys liked each other?
We were just talking. We were shooting.
Yeah.
But I want to say that because, everyone has to have people who help them along the way and, take a shot and stuff. And you were one of the many people to do that. But as a creator, like, you're the biggest creator we had on forever, like even maybe to this day in some ways. So
I appreciate that.
I really appreciate that, bro. And now we live like a half a mile apart here. So
we do stuff like this.
It's nice and easy to be in the neighborhood.
Absolutely, man.
But Dougie.
Yeah.
Tell people what your channel is. Because it's so unique. Like when Alessi showed it to me, I'm like, what the is this? And then we started watching it, and I'm sitting there like, it's
it keeps you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how do I explain it? I make it seem real. Yeah. And you can't tell which stories are real and which stories aren't. Because some of them are real and some of them aren't. But we don't clarify whatsoever. So if you watch one that's from my childhood or something along those lines, you watch and you're like, well, he's telling this, like this happened to him. Because it did. fully 100% happened to me, and I'm just telling it from my perspective with a lot of emotion and attention and like eye contact, and I'm scaring the people. And then I get to one that seems a little bit paranormal, or like something like, oh, on this trip something happened in the woods that seemed like a cryptid or something along those lines, and I tell it in the exact same manner, so they can't tell. And then the descriptions I put, this is a firsthand encounter when me and my friend Sam, who was an Army Ranger, who's just this tactical-minded guy, and who's a real friend of mine, so I just plug my real friends into these stories.
Whoa.
And then now we're in Michigan, and we touched a staircase, and now like a girl got brought into the woods by some dude without a face. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it just gets a little bit weird.
Where does this come from? Like, what is it in you that pulls out stories like that when they're not real?
I think it came from growing up in Chicago, where everything is dangerous everywhere. So you were going over every scenario in your head and like, all right, if that guy presses me, if he does this, I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure this out. And then you're just kind of like constantly preparing for days or preparing for commutes. I'm going to the loop. This might happen. I'm worried about this. I'm on the train. I'm looking around. This guy's doing this. And you start making these scenarios in your head over and over again all day. So it's like paranoia. Right. And then you just get used to like, then it's just like how my mind operates. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you have people in the comment section like hopping on, like let's say it's a fake story?
Yeah.
Do you have somebody being like, yeah, I heard of this, like I was
Yes.
you do?
Yes.
And they're just
You go, this is fact. You could see it in his eyes that it's
insane.
true.
I
Yes.
love when people like try to pick things apart and they're so wrong, and you're like, yeah, dude, you got this one.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that's every day. Every day.
The other thing you do is like your tone is so perfect because you're scripting these things out and you read it fast, but you're doing it like you'll memorize a line and then say it. But your tone is like blah, 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 blah. And I always think about like when I've done voiceovers, it's hard when you have to then go cut in something because your tone changed. You know what I'm talking about, John. But you keep it where it's like somehow it has the perfect like iambic pentameter in a way.
Yeah. The way we do that is I'll either write or I have my girl write, and I lay on the floor.
We got your girl in studio today, by the way.
Jess. She's 50% of this. She deserves just as much credit as I do.
That's awesome.
I lay on the floor and she types and I speak in my own voice. So she writes how I talk. And then she says the line, then I say the line. So that I'm able to actually say it as if I'm saying it.
That's genius.
Does that make sense? So I'm not like writing a novel. He said this and then we went here and the look on his face was delicate and sensitive. Like, no, it's like this guy looked weird as shit.
Right.
And then she'll type that out and say it back to you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's such a misconception too. Like if you read great authors sometimes, I'll give you an example. If you read like the book, The Da Vinci Code, right? If you've seen the movie before, obviously there's like in your head, you're picturing Tom Hanks, Robert Langdon playing them, and you see how they said the things in the movie.
Yeah.
But then you read the book, which is an award-winning book and phenomenal by Dan Brown, and the one thing is the dialogue is not real. Like once you're picturing them saying it out loud, it's very robotic. It's very robotic and like not how people would talk, because when you're just sitting there typing without actually talking it out to yourself, you tend to, exactly like you said, you tend to put things in a different word form.
Yeah. People will tell me to like put out a book, do something like this. We'll buy a hardcover. And I'm like, that's like buying a text message from me. You know what I'm saying? It's literally just how I talk.
Okay, you're saying it's like completely the same. That I've never done this, so I don't know. But that's such a good way to go. Because I think of almost like when parents write up texts, it's like, that's not you.
Yeah, it's formal.
Yeah, and they try to become something they're not, and like you're doing the complete opposite.
Yeah,
and that's why your stories feel so organic. Like I am just listening to you tell a 5-minute story off the top of your head.
And it's like the way I like to think about it is, sometimes you text people like your parents, and there's punctuation and capitalization and all this, but I write in lowercase with no punctuations. You know, the people in text that just have the lowercase, and you're like, oh, that kind of looks cool. How'd you do that? I don't even know how to change it in my phone, but whenever somebody does lowercase, I'm like, how'd you change that setting? That's how we write. It's all lowercase. Yeah.
Oh, that's so smart, man.
Yeah. And so, it all came from stories. And he told me that you guys realized stories is what was working.
Yeah, that was when I was making the clips John, you were there when I was first doing them in February 2021. As I had one go viral in April 2021. It was good. It didn't feel like amazing. I thought it would feel amazing. I was like, okay, well, we got to make the next one. But it's pretty cool.
You're like, what? No.
Yeah, exactly. I've never really felt anything when they go viral. But then I would see that I'd hit some clips. Like I'd make clips with the same quality. This is like now April, May, June into July 2021. I'd make clips of all the same quality, but some would like do half watch time and the other would do 100% and go viral. And I'm like, what is this? And then it hit me I put out 3 clips successively. Is that a word?
Yeah.
You allowed to say it?
I understand.
Whatever it is.
Talk to lowercase.
But I put out 3 clips at the end of July. One with my friend Ashton Larold, and then 2 with my guy Jim DiOrio. And Ashton told a visual story that went very viral. It wasn't so much a story as it was he was creating visuals that made it seem narrative, right?
Okay.
So he was talking about his having trouble with suicide. And he talked about how I didn't want to die, but I didn't want to be alive. It's almost like you're in a car and you're driving, but it's like, and you have anxiety, depression, all these things back there. You're controlling the wheel though, not them. So people were picturing this and I'm like, whoa. And then with Jim, he's telling a story about September 15th, 2001, when he did a takedown of an Al-Qaeda cell in Jersey, right? And so he's like, so we go to the door. And I was like, oh. So I see this and I'm like, oh my God. I'd had a guy in about a month before, John Borick, who was this Emmy-winning sportscaster in Philly. And in the middle of the conversation, we were just getting lit on camera, so it was like whatever. But in the middle of the conversation, I said to him, what was your favorite part about your career? And he said, like, very seriously, he goes, telling people stories. I'm a storyteller. That's what I want. I want to know what makes people tick and how they got there. And I thought about that. And then I put these clips together and I was like, stories. And then I went back to every clip that had gone viral. And if it wasn't a story, it painted a perfect visual that you could make a narrative. So then I started working in all the B-roll and stuff like that. And that was kind of it. So yeah, when we were looking at this, we're like, all right, this guy gets it. Steve Jobs said, storyteller runs the world.
Yeah. So when we first started going viral, I was a little embarrassed when I started to have to make ones up. And I felt a little bit weird about it because I was like, all the other ones, I was like proud of them. Like, this is, they think I'm cool. They think the me and my friends did was cool, you know? And it made me feel a little bit more unique, right? And I was like, I guess I had an interesting upbringing. I guess my perspective on things is interesting. But once they became fake, I started to get a little bit insecure about it because, you know, like I told you, like I was working at jiu-jitsu schools around a bunch of combat sports guys. It's a different vibe, you know? And I'm like, I'm making up stories. It comes off a little bit weird. But then my friend Meek, who I would
Meek Mill?
No.
I was thinking the same thing. Wait a minute.
No.
Who's your friend?
Mikhail Latif. He actually fights for one championship. He fought in Singapore like a few weeks ago. But he's one of the most interesting men I've ever met. He's a world traveler. He's a professional fighter. He played kabaddi in India. He's just a very respectable man that lives at a very high level. I really respect the shit out of this guy. And he said to me, storytellers were respected throughout every generation.
Yes.
You should be proud of what you do. And I was like, it changed everything for me. And now the way we approach writing, I have so much more pride behind it because I'm like, this is something I should be proud of, not something that I should be a little insecure about because I'm making shit up.
Who's your influences? Like when you were growing up, were you a reader? Did you like watching documentaries or movies?
I was an athlete my whole life. Only. Like I enjoyed cartoons, Avatar: The Last Airbender, play video games, just regular stuff. But the area that I grew up in was very blue collar, just a lot of firemen, cops, union workers, and all their kids. So then our neighborhood was wild. Like it was a good neighborhood. Like no crime, nothing like that. But the level of intensity of like the rivalries from high schools and stuff like that. There was 3 high schools in my area, and all of the kids that we all grew up together, we all went to different high schools. And then rivalry started. And we'd meet up and have massive group fights in the parks.
Group fights? What does that look like?
Massive. I'm talking build it up on Facebook, this kid versus this kid.
That's awesome.
Like,
That's
I swear,
so cool.
bro. And we knew who the tough kids were, and it was like, okay, we have this kid, he's a state wrestler, but this kid's the running back for this high school. It's gonna be a good matchup. Let's build it up.
Yo, you guys had a fight club.
Yeah, and there would be no mismatches. It was like you can't fight a guy like way lower.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, you guys had rules. That's
That's what I'm saying. It was respectable. There was no jumping in. There was nothing like that. But we were able to wrestle because like we respected wrestling in our community.
Did you wrestle?
I wrestled 1 year, but then I switched to jiu-jitsu because they tried to make me cut weight, but I wanted to play football, so I didn't want to cut weight.
Gotcha.
So when you're fighting, it's all go though. You can use all limbs.
We all loved the UFC.
Right.
So we all knew.
So if you tapped out, that's it? Fight's over?
Respect.
Really?
No, there wasn't that many submissions because there was a lot of wrestlers.
Yeah.
And obviously we were younger. It was like early high school. We all became like, once that phase passed, all friends again. no issues. We're like, that was sick, right? That was like, it was just all camaraderie. It was just, that's what you do there.
Yeah.
So it was just sports, and then obviously being around hordes of other guys. So you just get good at communicating and like performing in front of 15 dudes and just like talking and building personality. And then, jujitsu gyms. I ran it. I was like the dude that, like, when you walk in, I'm like, what's up? I'm there every day.
Yeah.
So I'm dealing with 100 men and how to like create a community and talk to men and build an environment and teach them how, this is how we act here. And then I perform for them pretty much when they come in. I'm putting the stuff, whatever we're watching on the TV. I'm introducing this guy to this guy. These are 2 new members. I have to make them feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so
I do.
I just got good at communicating with people.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
It's almost like your shit was a stage ahead of time in a way.
Yeah, I did some sales too.
You did?
Yeah, here and there. After high school, I knew I didn't go D1 in any sports, so I was like, I'm good. I don't want to go play football. Like, I'm not going to go play football in a cornfield. I don't care. So I saved up $2,000 at Steak and Shake, and I moved to California, and I just lived in communes and hostels for 2 years right after high school.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
You did, John. Did you see this video, the party I wish I never went to or whatever?
No.
Did I show you that one?
No.
All right, you did this video recently where I remember
The
you
society?
put a picture. Yeah, you put a picture of the Steak Shack, or what was it, Shake Shack in there?
Steak and Shake, that's a real pick.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
That's me working at Steak and Shake. So I put pieces that are true in every story.
Yeah.
So every place I referenced in that story, I had been there and I lived there. And then there's the other, did you see the Demon Girl one in the commune? That happened.
That
Give
one
us a
happened.
synopsis, bro.
But wait, the party in LA didn't?
Hell no.
You were fooled, bro. You
Right?
thought you had him, bro.
I wanted that one to be real.
Yeah, no.
We're going to talk about it still, but go ahead.
And I tied in things that were relevant in that time. Like that was the time of the vloggers, and I knew where they all lived because I lived in LA at the time.
So you didn't live at 1600 Vine?
No.
God damn it, I told like 6 people this kid lived at
he
1600 Vine.
Wow, man. He's commenting. This is real. I know it's real.
No, that's perfect.
Okay.
That's crazy.
I didn't live there. I lived in Glendale and Reseda and a little bit of time in Studio City and then a little bit of time in OC. And then I traveled a lot to San Francisco and San Diego.
Okay, so you did live out there though.
Yeah, for 2 years. 2.5.
What were you trying to do out there again?
I was traveling California, going from different jiu-jitsu gym for 2.5 years, and I was just training, and I would work on a production set for like 1 week a month because my aunt is a writer. She actually was a writer on Sons of Anarchy. She's
Great show.
That's sick.
Yeah,
That was a great
she's really
show.
great. Her name's Regina. She's the best. She was out there. She had a little production company, and then my Uncle Joe had a little commercial production company. So I'd go be a grip. I'd just go move heavy for a week, and they would pay me like $3,000.
What?
And my rent was $300, and I had a $120 car bill. So
What
I just had
years is
freedom.
this?
2015, 16, a little bit 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were a mover and shaker from a young age. There's some people that it's just they can't, and this is a good thing. I think most of the time they can't sit still. They need new adventure. They need new action. It seems like you're that guy.
Yes, 100%. I can't think about things for more than 10 seconds. I'm a goldfish. I tell her, I'm like, if I forget, I'm not doing it to like hurt you. I forgot because I forgot. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just moving on to the next thing. All the stories, I always talk about it. It's like people are like, oh, how'd you come up with this? What's your process? I'm like, start, finish, publish, repeat. I do one draft, I record it, I edit it, I never think about it again.
That's it.
And I just move on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I think short memory is pretty important in your space and our space. You know, because win or loss, you can't harp on it because now you're gonna. If it's a big win, you're like, I'm good. I don't have to make content for a week now.
Yeah.
And like, no, you do. You have to make content the next day. And if it's a bad one, you get in your own head. I don't know what to do now. Did I lose my touch? People forgot about me. That's the biggest thing right now. Like the ADHD mind of just like you posted yesterday. Who cares? Today's a new day.
That's TikTok. And we stopped, like, and I felt that pressure.
Yeah,
Don't get me
dude.
wrong.
It's terrible.
And like, you get the comments if one video doesn't do well, there's the really hateful person like, bro, you fell off after this story. And I'm like, I jumped ship.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm like, I jumped ship. I went to YouTube. Like, I'm not even trying on TikTok anymore. I haven't put effort into TikTok since August.
I don't even care.
I don't care. You know, like, I'm just going to build on YouTube, you know?
We're really the same.
Yeah.
It really happened that way.
We're kind of going back now because they have the new rewards program. You saw that? They're out of creativity program beta. Now they're in creative rewards program. So
and
they're
that
offering
involves
much
the
more.
long form, right?
Long form, and that was a beautiful thing because we were already doing long form. You gotta look at that. Yeah.
Write that down.
Add it to the list of 40,000 things we do.
I'm gonna send you. I did off camera. Anyway.
Okay.
Hey guys, if you have a second, please be sure to share this episode around on social media and with your friends, whether it's Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, doesn't matter. It's all a huge help. It gets new eyeballs on the show, and it allows us to grow and survive. So thank you to all of you who have already been doing that, and thank you to all of you who are going to do so now.
Yeah, now we're just doing YouTube, and YouTube sticks around. They're like, I can't wait for the next one. They buy in, you know, and they see how much hard. Like, I feel like the YouTube community knows how much effort goes into each video. When TikTok's just like, you're not cool anymore, you fell off. I'm like, leave me alone. You know,
You're like, shut up.
you're stupid though.
Yeah,
you know?
John's a prototypical TikToker.
Yeah, well, but you fall into like this, like you hear these comments, and like you find yourself commenting back, and you're like, what am I doing?
Yes.
Answering a 12-year-old just said, wow, sick views, dude. Fuck you, man. I'll beat your ass. I'll fight you right now.
Dude, I reply to comments with videos.
Like the talking to him.
Oh, you'll do that on TikTok.
Hell yeah. But they like that.
Yeah.
You know, it really bumps views if I reply to somebody who said something mean and I kind of, to the crowd that likes me, I'm like, it's crazy that I put this much effort into make quality content for you and you don't appreciate it. And everybody's like, yeah, you're a piece of shit. And I'm like, take that. No, you get a wave of mean comments, you know?
Yeah, you see how it feels now.
Yeah.
Most people, they're just behind the keyboard. Like there was a situation we had in the fall, me and my buddy Danny Jones, where we were dealing with some fallout from something with someone who was just kind of an asshole. And about a week in, he was like, dude, I just realized something. This person is a YouTube commenter in real life. And we just happen to see them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit. Because then I thought about the behaviors and I'm like, wow. It's like shocking when you meet that. But the difference is at least that guy was a YouTube commenter to your face too.
You got to respect that. Listen, talk to my face.
I respect that.
I respect that for sure.
A lot of people, you know, they're just like, fuck you, die, bye.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It's fun though.
It's
fun. We see him. I was just reading them on the way here.
But you have to see them from that vantage point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I forget, Alex Hormozy was talking about it. Like if I told you something that you knew was true about yourself and I exposed that's when you get very sensitive.
Yeah.
Like he was like, if you called me short, it wouldn't even bother me because I'm not short. Right?
Yeah.
So he's like, if you have an insecurity, that's the only way somebody can get at you. So you read it from a vantage point of like, I'm making content, have a good time. If you tell me that my character in this video was a dickhead or whatever, so be it.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt me personally.
I tend to write in a way that I kind of put myself as the bad guy sometimes, or I kind of put myself as the ignorant character at sometimes.
What do you mean?
Like, something will happen, and like I'll have this other character here, and shout out my friend Sam. I'm not gonna say his last name because his brother doesn't want me to, but he is a really cool Army Ranger guy, and he is just very tactical. He spent a lot of time overseas, and when I think of somebody who I would like to be in a situation with, I think of him, right? And I know he would do the right thing, but I need to tee up his moment of doing the right thing by me being an ignorant, immature asshole.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. 100%.
So like this happened and I go, and my first thing is to tell this person to get away from me. But then Sam goes, hey, she might be in trouble. We need to figure this out. You know, we need to gather information about this to do this. So it pushes the narrative forward that doesn't put me on the pedestal every time. Because if you do that, you just sound full of yourself. Like, yeah, I'm the hero of every story.
That's right.
I put myself as like the secondary character that's observing and they're coming with me.
You're Tobey Maguire in Gatsby.
Never seen it, but yes.
You never seen Gatsby?
Turn around.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That way.
Other
way. This way.
There we go.
Back over there. But yes, right there too.
Exactly.
That is correct.
Have you guys seen Masters of the Air yet?
Masters of the Air?
It's on Apple TV. It's got Austin Butler.
No.
What's going on in
well,
that?
It's they're a bomb squad in World War II.
Oh,
right.
I'm in.
It's sweet.
I'm in.
It's sweet.
That's sick.
But the narration is done by the navigator of the planes. It's not done by it follows the pilots.
That's right.
They're the heroes. The pilots are the heroes, right? But the person that's telling the story is the navigator that survived.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm the navigator.
Okay.
I'm bringing them through the story through my point of view, watching the heroes.
But that's also, that makes sense though, because that's what the best storytellers are. They usually are the people who are there to document what's happening, right? They're not the people actually like saving the world when they do it. And it's very important though to have that, because then you actually get that perspective and everything. But that's, I always love getting into the process of how people bring these things to life. It is surprising to me that you're like, when I look at a video that's an hour, 20 minutes long with, I mean, you speak fast too, which is good. So like you're getting a lot of words in there per minute. I'm like, but this guy's just doing draft, rinse, repeat.
Yep.
Even for those long ones.
Everything. It's we don't think about it again. We come up with the concept, we write the bullet points, we do one draft, and we record, and I send it. That's it. I move on.
Wow.
I spend 10 minutes on the thumbnail. That's it. And then out. Move on. Start writing. That's it.
I was like, look at that.
We don't have that experience.
Yeah.
How long was I spending on those thumbnails last night?
But that's but the TikToks, that's so as far as like the distribution of it is like the editing side of it, very meticulous. Like this isn't by accident. You know what I'm saying? Like
how so? What do you mean?
Well, for the first 20, well, no, probably 30 videos that all like 5 million plus videos. The first 30, I edited them myself. They took me 6 hours for a 4-minute video each one.
I believe that.
So that part, like the style that was built and the understanding of the socials and things of that nature and what fat to cut. Because initially I was telling them on a podcast. I would be like, here's a concept, and I would have my friends come in, shout out Abdullah and Adam. They'd come in and I would be like, hey, we're going to tell current events for 40 minutes, but we have to do one story. And I would be like, hey, here's the story, right? And I would tell it to my friends. So that's where the natural storytelling came from, because people liked the way I would tell it to somebody. And then but there would be so much fat in there. So I would have to go in, there would be a 15-minute video, and I had to cut 15 minutes into 4.
Yeah.
So it's 10 minutes of fat of me talking, and sometimes I repeat myself. Sometimes they talk over me. Sometimes they laugh over me, and I have to repeat it. So
you got to go cut that out.
Exactly. So now it's a bit easier. We're able to make much longer ones because nobody's talking over me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And I don't repeat it. So
it's good training though to have to do that, because it makes you have to be meticulous. Like, I don't know if you remember this, John, but for some reason when I was on TikTok before YouTube was starting to rip in 2021, TikTok would never send my clips if they were over 29 seconds and 20 frames.
Really?
Ever. So I had to learn how to edit, and they couldn't be too short because, then it's like whatever. I had to learn how to edit between 27 and a half and so 27, 12 out of 24, and then 29, I think 16 was the cutoff.
Yeah.
And I hated it. But then when YouTube was like, yo, if it's good, we're going to send it. Once that happened, now it made editing 45 seconds. Like, oh, I got to get something from 5 minutes to 45 seconds. That shit's easy.
Nothing. Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
We would build the hooks. Like the hooks would take the longest for sure. Because
how do you find a hook?
Questions. Questions and moments, right? So I probably still know the hook to the first stairs video. When I touched it, like I felt something when I touched it, and then Sam looked at me like he was terrified. And then I knew, then it was like I knew it happened the second I touched it. The second you touch what? Right? So it's like, and Sam looked at me terrified. Why was he terrified? And
Emotion.
Then setting. Me and my friend Sam went on a hike in Michigan, and we went and did this. And as we're walking, we see a staircase in the clearing, and the staircase was a bit weird. It was clean. It was in the middle of the woods, but it was white and had blue carpet, and there wasn't a bug on it. You know what I'm saying? So then it's like, why is the staircase here?
Put you there.
So we find questions that need to be answered. That we would go every 3 seconds. There needs to be a reason for the next 3 seconds.
That's a really good way of putting it. Because again, if you have a good enough hook, that video can be so fucking long, because I'm staying to make sure I find out the answer to that question.
Yeah, we had like 120% retention on the stairs video that was 4.5 minutes long.
120%.
Yeah, they would rewatch it.
How many views did you
On a 4.5 minute
That one
video.
is probably over 7 million, but then it's the second video is probably at like 9 million. On TikTok.
Right.
And then we literally, from part 1 to part 30, averaging 5 million views. I would post it at 9 p.m. and we'd wake up. We'd wake up and it would be at 1 million by the time we'd wake up, and we'd open the phone right away, be like, it's at 1 million, so it's still going good. And then it actually died down when TikTok throttled my RPM, and they didn't let me make any more money past a certain amount that month.
Oh, so you were doing too good. You were beating the house.
I was doing way too good.
Wait, they did what?
I want to do well on TikTok, so I don't want to say it.
I mean, I don't know if anybody's watching it.
Okay.
I mean, Julian believes somebody's watching right now.
Well, but this is the thing, is the second I said it, they throttled my views and they throttled my RPM.
All right, let's talk good about TikTok.
Yeah, we love our overlords at TikTok.
TikTok, I'm very excited for this new program that you have coming, and I want to be a creator on your platform. You just need to incentivize me properly.
Little side note, they are really serious about that though. I went to their HQ in New York in October for like 8 hours one day.
Yeah.
They invited a bunch of random creators, and like they were really like, "Can you guys make long form video? Can you make long form video?" So
somebody from TikTok reached out to you then, or did you reach out to them? Yeah, I haven't heard from anybody anywhere. You guys are the first creators I've met.
I had never heard shit from anyone either, but they reached out like to my agent at the agency, so it wasn't even like to me. So I almost think it was like random, like an accident, because I can't even get. I've never been monetized on TikTok. They won't even accept my ID. Why? So I feel you when it comes to like they don't even help you with that. I was sitting in there like, you guys gonna monetize me? They're like, oh yeah, no problem.
Just start making
like, no, I'm not leaving until you monetize. Go ahead, here's my account. Go ahead, you got it.
I was like, it's just marketing, whatever. You know, we'll get the views. But
so once we got to part 12, over 5 million views every single part. They throttled my RPM, which already should have been $1. That's what they said, right?
Tell people what RPM is who don't know.
Oh, RPM is how much you get paid per 1,000 views, right? So YouTube is in some cases when you have longer form content, sometimes it could be $12 to $20, right? Ours is whatever. TikTok is $1. 20.
He goes 12 to those big time creators. They're making 20. I don't know who that is.
If they're an hour plus.
Oh really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yes, that does make a huge difference.
Huge difference because there's more space.
Yeah,
right. But TikTok is like the most you could get is like $1, right? Yeah. We start off because I was already doing well with 1 minute plus videos when the program came out. Right.
And when was that? Like a year ago?
August.
Yeah.
It was August. Or September. July. Maybe.
Less than a year.
Whatever.
Now. Okay.
Mine was already at 70 cents. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it wasn't what they advertised, but it's good enough, right? It's cool. We're doing really well, so that'll be fine. And then once it got to the 12th, I was getting 4 cents.
What?
4 cents.
So it went down 96%.
Yes. They stopped paying me. I got a video with 5 million views that was 4 minutes long, and they paid me $16.
Fucking communists! God damn it!
Shut up!
And this is what I did because I just get angry, and she knew I was doing the wrong thing, but she was like, I was very upset. And I start taking screenshots of my creator dashboard, and I'm literally just doing green screen videos, and I'm showing them, hey guys, this is how many views I got. This is how many were qualified. This is how much they paid me. I'm begging you to watch on YouTube. And after that, we didn't get over 1 million views on that story anymore.
Oh, they're like, watch this motherfucker.
Well, check this out. Cool down.
The other thing you're saying here is like what do you say, part 30 or something like that? I used to get shit on for doing part 2. How the fuck do you get away with 30?
That is insane, dude.
Because I would communicate. Every single night, right after, I would call. What would I call it? Just like I have to go talk to them. We would post the video at 9 p.m. right after I finished editing, and we had a second room in the studio. The studio that I was, in the second room, and I would go in the first few comments, I would reply to like 8 of them, and I would do a full video reply. And I would just nurture it, and I'd be like, guys, I'm working so hard for you, because we were doing 12-hour days.
So that would work for all the complainers about
they
part
would
2
understand
and part 12.
I'd be like, guys, I'm working as hard as I can. I don't have any help. I'm recording them. I'm editing them. I promise I'll get the next part out tomorrow. Just do this. And then I would do a green screen, and I would take a screenshot of my profile. Feel free to steal this. You circle what you want them to do. So you go, hey, if you want to watch on YouTube, and you circle the Instagram button, just click this, and then circle the YouTube button, then click this, and go support me over here. And we got 100,000 people from TikTok to YouTube.
Wait, back that up. Hold on. Back that one up.
John's over here, right?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yo, bro, they hated that though. TikTok hated that.
Of course.
So I wouldn't say YouTube. I'd say, hey, if you guys really want to support me, just go to my profile, click, and I would go like this, click this, then click this. And then you'll find yourself here where I have a plethora of stories that you will absolutely love.
This is an actual post or a story on TikTok?
A post.
You posted this?
Post. I would do like 8 every night, and I would just talk to them.
Oh, so you're posting a shit ton.
Yeah, I would post one video, but the first video was 4 minutes. So I'm not just posting like a little glimpse. I'm posting a 4-minute, like this is a part that we got to a really good climax at whatever part of the story we were on. And then I would leave it on a cliffhanger. So they're like, oh, come on, give me the next one. I'd be like, the next one's tomorrow. So we took that formula that like Netflix or like the old school used, like, hey, we're every Friday an episode drops. I did it. I just minimized it onto an every night basis. So 4 minutes.
At least you're staying in front of them all the time.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm just replying to comments all the time.
Right. So you'd be posting these stories once a week.
Every night.
Every night, these stories.
4 minutes every night.
Gotcha.
And then I would reply to like 8 to 10
throughout
comments.
The day.
No, I'd do it right after. The first people that commented would get it. So it incentivizes that first hour.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Smart.
Yeah. And then the next morning, maybe I would do like a controversial one where somebody would say something mean and I would go, I'm back at the studio. I slept 6 hours and I'm out here grinding for and you're talking to me like that. So you kind of build a little controversy around it too, where like support happens, you know?
Now,
so
how are the views on the reply story, the reply videos?
I got 10.4 mil on one.
Just you saying, hey guys, check this.
Video.
That one was when the series thing just came out, where they incentivize, you guys know this, they incentivize you using their features.
Yeah.
So when TikTok Shop came out, I already had merch ready.
Yeah.
And then I sold out an entire drop of merch in 3 days.
Yeah.
And just because I swear to you, we were the first people to put the TikTok Shop thing at the bottom because I spent 6 hours learning how to connect the merch store to the TikTok
such
Shop.
a pain in the ass.
Right?
Oh
Through
my God.
skill queue.
Yeah.
Such a pain in the ass.
Is that window high enough for me to jump and kill myself?
Break your legs.
Yeah.
You'd be fine though.
And then we had a bunch of podcasts already done. And my friend Sam, he did a podcast with me before where he was searching for Forrest Fenn's treasure, which is
For
like
what?
Forrest Fenn's treasure. It was this
English.
I got you. It was this philanthropist.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right.
There we go. Who he was just like really rich and he had a bunch of Native American antiques and he made this little chest and he put millions of dollars worth of stuff in this chest and he wrote a book with a riddle in it and he said, if you solve the riddle, you will be able to find this chest, right? And he just put it out to the public and because he thought he was dying of terminal cancer, he survived. But then it became a big media storm because people were going to search in national parks for this treasure.
I saw that. Yeah.
So really cool story. And my friend Sam went to look for it while he was in college at Boulder, Colorado. Amazing story. He almost died. He fell into like a rapid. It was this crazy story. And I had him on like a year earlier and I just had this podcast in the bank. So then the series thing came out where you could put a paywall behind a video. So I have this story where me and Sam are in the woods and this shit is happening. And if you guys want to put a face to the name, I actually have a podcast from a year ago that YouTube took down because it was too graphic. But you guys could pay $1.99 for it to support me and put a face to the name. And that video got 10 million views because series just came out.
Go ahead, tell us.
No.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Where do you get the time for all this?
Psychotic.
That's all you do, though.
That's all I do. Yeah. She gets all I think about, all we talk about, it's all this all the time. We work out and we do this. That's all we do.
What does a day look like for you?
We wake up, we drink.
What time?
Oh, no, we sleep till we wake up. So that's a rule that I have. When I go to sleep, we try not to set alarms. It's a little different this week, but we just don't set alarm. When we wake up, I feel fresh and I could go for 12 hours straight. But if I try to do like a 6 a.m. regimen, whatever, like we don't do that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just need to feel rested. Your boy needs to sleep.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're one of those people. You're born. I have a phrase. You're born with the cocaine in your veins.
Yeah.
You don't need that shit. Like,
Yeah.
That's just there. But that's
And I
interesting.
love this
That's how
shit.
you start.
Yeah, I love this shit. And it's
Yes.
fun. And I just like working out. And this gives us the freedom to work out. And then I enjoy what I'm doing. Right? So it doesn't bother me. It's like first thing we do, we just work out. We have a gym in the basement now.
Oh, you do a home workout with it.
Yeah. Luckily we were, because when we started, I lived with my parents. Right? And then I met her. She moved in with my parents. And
All three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. And she moved in. She moved in with her dog too. And it was just this whole.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's laying down. I see what you did there.
Yeah. She was smart lady over there.
I made her actually, because everything started going well when I met her, right? Because it's direction.
Right.
I'm not joking. The first person to believe in me, right? So I was just throwing stuff at the wall, all this stuff going on, and I found myself trying to, because I figured out the story thing. So I was trying to have people on similar to what you do, tell their story, and I'll clip it because I didn't feel it. Kind of promoting myself kind of felt gross.
It does
for a little
feel
while,
gross. Yeah.
right? And then I met her, and she goes, "You have good stories. Do you?" And then the first one that she was like, "This story was good. Clip it and do it." And we're just hanging out in my studio. We made it. Got 10.6 million.
When was that?
A few months before the stairs, so maybe June.
Last year.
Yeah.
Was that that wasn't your first video though?
The first video that went really, so the first video that I felt like went viral got 1.1 million. And I was like, I'm the shit.
Which platform?
But it was my
1.1 million rookie numbers.
But it was my friend Hamza telling a crazy story. So it was my boy telling a story. But then that's when I realized the story thing. And then I reached out to the entire public on TikTok of 1.1 million viewers that I had at the time and 16,000 followers. If you guys have a crazy story, DM me. I'm going to send you a Zoom link. And then I'm going to have you in Zoom and I'm going to give everybody the platforms, the podcast and the people. Crowdsourcing. Wow. And I had a ton of kids call in for this one thing. I did it on a Friday and we had like 30 kids in the lobby. Obviously, they kind of started dripping out because I was like, hey, there's a queue. You know, everybody
yeah.
has like 10 minutes. People start dropping out, but we got like 8 kids over the country to call in on Zoom, and I was clipping their stories. And I was just doing that because I knew the story thing was a big thing. And that did okay. But the second time I tried to do it, the hype wasn't the same, right? Yeah. And then I was like, oh, well, that was my wave. I fell off. I'm done, right? That was it. That's it for me. And then we met, we started seeing each other. And then I just randomly told a story on a pod about this time I lived in a commune in Reseda, California. And this girl started acting like a demon, right? And she started acting crazy, you know? And it was good. And I just told it from a funny, it was actually more comedy.
What was that story?
Guys, if you're still watching this video and you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, please take 2 seconds and go hit it right now. Thank you.
Let's go through that one.
So I lived in this wild place in Reseda, California, where like 16 people lived there. And if you look at it from the outside, it's just a gate and it looks like damn near a trailer park in there. But rent was $350, right? And I was like, I don't want to pay rent. There's a bed there. Cool. I'm 19. And there was people in and out constantly in this commune. And my roommates would change week by week. And one of them, I went home for Christmas and I came home, I came back, and apparently there was this girl here that this happened. And I started talking to my friend and he's like, bro, she's been acting crazy, where she's standing in the middle of the yard, standing on one foot, squeezing her fist, like white knuckling it, acting wild, and like hair in front of her face, a little Asian girl. Freaky situation, right? She's harassing everybody.
This is real though.
That's real. That's real. We extended that story. So like that concept went viral.
Creative license.
Yeah.
Embellishment a little bit.
Yeah. So initially that story went viral and got like 10.6. And then just like a month ago, we extended it to an hour long, right? Because we had the concept, we had the base there, and then we just extended it like it went on for a week longer, right? Of like different stuff, right? And we told that through the perspective of us not knowing it was going on, watching her actions through security cameras a week after she did all of it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. So, yeah, that's that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it did. That's a wild concept, though. So you don't disclose this, though. You make people guess
That's
which
the
ones are
smartest
real
part.
and which ones are fake.
The thing is, the first 10 were 100% real. So it was like, I was just standing on it. I'm like, dude, this happened. They're like, there's no way this happened.
Now we're out of material.
And then we run out of material. And I was worried. And she could say, I had the stairs in the woods in my notes for months. Because I'm like, this is going to be the first fake one. This is the first one, and I knew it because it was just this really cool concept that was from this old Reddit post 10 years ago that was like a phenomenon of these mythical staircases in the woods that the park rangers don't even know why they're there, but they just pop up and disappear randomly. So that's the concept.
There was a Reddit thread on this?
Yeah, it's called like Search and Rescue something.
Pull this up?
Yeah. It's really popular, but it was popular like early 2000s, right? When that creepypasta Reddit thing was going on. And my friend told me about it, and I was like, that's a weird concept. And I looked into it, and I found myself disturbed by it, one, but two, I felt like I wanted more. I felt like there's not enough about this. It's a bunch of threads. It's pretty cool. It's way too much to read.
9 years ago.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Which is also smart because now like you have reference. Like,
Yes.
It's a fake story, but people can go like, no, I saw this on Reddit too. Like it must be real.
Yeah. One thing that's annoying is that they say I stole this story and I'm reading it word for word, and that's not even remotely true. If it's so different, it's just the concept, and then I
Yeah, you
made
used the concept and made a story.
Exactly.
And what happened in that story? That's your most famous video.
Yeah, but I couldn't even tell you what happened. We were doing that on a daily basis. 12, like that was the hardest month of our life. Like it was.
It took a month to do that.
It took 30 days straight.
Yeah, that was like an hour, 20 minutes or something, that video.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And people were like, come on, you recorded it all. We know you recorded it all. I'm like, bro, I don't even know what's happening next. I'm figuring out what's happening next tomorrow.
As you're going.
As I'm going. On a daily basis, the pressure, and 5 million people. I'm tuning in every single night. Like, next part. Come on, I know you have recorded. Just drop the whole thing. You know that they want it. They want the whole thing.
And that's why on YouTube, your videos, I like how you do that. Like in them, it intermittently, and we're going to put some on the screen a little bit, but it intermittently goes to like part 4, part 5, and that's for TikTok.
Yeah.
But you'll repeat the last line of the last video
We stopped
as the
doing
opener.
that. We stopped doing that because the YouTube people hate that.
They hate what?
They hate when I repeat the last line because I was making them for TikTok, so we just had the projects. I didn't know I was going to convert it into a YouTube video. So I just had the project file, and I would basically like, we had so much going on. We were still writing.
Yeah.
So I didn't have enough time to like redo the editing and resize and take out the hooks of each one to make it just like that.
I kind of like that, though. I fuck
Yeah.
the YouTube people. I kind of like that because it resets the deck and it goes, wait, that was a serious moment. Like
Yeah.
if you're just kind of working
Yeah,
while
if
you're
you're zoning
listening to
out,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some
It's
people
hard to
loved
zone
it.
out with you, but still.
Yeah. Some people loved it, but most commonly on YouTube, people talk shit about it. So our pinned comment is a very petty explanation of it because I was sick of getting those comments. Yeah.
Now, when you say, because I know your first ever post was on TikTok.
Yes. Yeah. I knew TikTok was, so I have been obsessed with the content for a long time because I knew it was the biggest opportunity of our generation. Right. And we all know that. That's why we do this. Right. I didn't like the idea of but my only other options were probably be if a firefighter, if I get a good number on the test, or a construction worker or something like that.
What'd your parents do?
My dad's a teacher and my mom was an accountant.
Okay.
So
standard.
It was standard, but I have parts of my family that I really like. I latch on to certain family members that were very high achieving. My uncle is Pat Reilly.
Like Patty Rings.
Patty Rings, like
That's
every
your
finger.
uncle.
That's my
is
mom.
That like your uncle, or is it?
It is my grandfather's brother. It's my grandfather's little brother. Yeah.
Okay.
And I grew up with my grandpa.
So your grandfather's the older Reilly.
Yes, he's Leon Reilly. He was in the NFL, gangster.
What?
Rest in peace. He's my favorite man in the world, Leon Reilly. His little brother is Pat Reilly. And when I was a little kid, I have vivid memories of going to games and Pat Reilly holding me and walking me around stadiums. And the center for them at the time, pulling down the net from one of the games and giving it to me, going on a limo ride with Pat Reilly and feeling that. And
Gangster.
I was a kid and I was like, this is interesting. You're important. This is you're a high achiever. And I felt that. I don't talk to him much anymore. He's fucking Pat Reilly. I haven't talked, I was in he's the president of the Miami Heat now, winning championships. Yeah. I was growing up in Chicago.
He's one of the GOATs, man.
Yeah. But very high achievers in my blood. So I would read his books and I'm like, I want to be like you, or my Aunt Regina, who was writing in Hollywood, Sons of Anarchy, HBO, Showtime, Netflix. She's a gangster, dude. She's and she's a writer. So she's somebody I go to a lot for what we're doing right now.
Yeah, especially for what you're doing. Christ, right
it's
there.
Very interesting. She's very proud because for a while she was nobody understood what I was doing. No, the older generation doesn't know what we're doing. Right. They don't understand what we're pursuing.
How long have you been a content creator, officially, as your full time?
Well, I was poor, so I didn't have the money to get any of the equipment, but I wanted to be since I was about 18. And I knew I wanted to do it. And I watched Rogan when I was 18. I would just be watching him. I want to do something like that.
How old are you now?
I'm 27.
Okay.
Yeah. So I knew, but at that time, that generation of content creators, I didn't like them. I felt like it was really low quality content. I felt like every joke was at somebody's expense. I felt
the vlogging era kind of thing.
Yes.
The Dobrik's of the way, and that was when Vine was popping off. So it was the 6-second clips of just people being dumbasses.
Yeah. And the Pauls coming up, and I have nothing against them whatsoever. But it's when I would see that time of how they were acting, I didn't like it. I didn't want to be affiliated with it.
Yeah.
And I knew the higher production type of things. I wanted to be a part of that, and I knew that would just take time and me saving up money and buying equipment here and there. And then during COVID, I was I've been working at jiu-jitsu schools for a long time, and COVID happened, and then I start getting unemployment from them, and then crypto happens, and I crush in crypto.
God damn it, you knew it was coming.
Yeah,
there was something in there.
Yeah. And
all right, define crush it in crypto.
I just knew I was everything. I'm sure you guys do this. I'm prepared. When it's happening, I'm I'm going to figure that out. TikTok Shop, new feature. I'm connecting Skill IQ to this, and I'm selling something the second it comes out. Yeah. I'm studying crypto. I have external wallets. I have everything. I need to learn it.
So you didn't lose all of it?
Yeah. No. Hell no.
All right, good.
I got all my stuff.
Good for you.
I immediately reinvested it in myself, but I didn't have anything. I was working at a jiu-jitsu school. I was wiping mats, saying what's up, signing people up for jiu-jitsu, and traveling, and just I didn't have resources. So the second I had resources and I was able to get the stuff I needed, 1 year later, I'm where I'm at. So it's just a lack of It was just a lack of resources. That's it.
Yeah, I understand your conundrum completely. I mean, it's
I could tell. When I look at this, I go, "You're New Jersey me." Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's
no,
cool.
I relate to you so much because I see this. I'm like, you did this all yourself. I could see how you and him, of course,
got some help along the way. That's the thing. I've been working 7 days a week for over 4 years now.
Yep,
it's getting old, and it's starting to affect. It's starting to affect my quality of life, to be honest with you.
100%.
There's been a lot of other stuff going on too. But yes, when I started working on this March 2020, from March 2020 until the end of April 2023 was every single thing down to every comment done by me? Yes. Yep. And then we brought on some shorts editors. That's where Leslie started. And now he's picked up more and more hats because we've added a lot of hats too as we go. But if you go to those 3 years, though, nothing ever truly happens alone. You need a guy like John Rondi to come down on a Monday in January 4th, 2021 and fucking do the damn thing with you, right? You need your parents in this case. This was a huge benefit I had that it appears you had and you had as well. When I turned down my contract to decide like, oh, I didn't want to do that with my career and turn down all that money, my dad and my mom let me move in and build the studio there, no rent. Most people don't get that opportunity. It doesn't happen without them. Doesn't happen without all the people who come through there. Doesn't, you know what I mean? So yes, there's the part of it that we build ourselves and we grind, and most people will never see it or appreciate it. I'll admit, recently, out of nowhere, I have started to take some offense to when people talk about overnight success with some stuff. With me, and I wasn't taking offense to it, but I realized the other night, like, now I'm starting to take offense to that shit. So, like, yeah, it doesn't happen that way, but it's a beautiful process for it to come together because you see everything that went into it and the people that also made it possible with you. So, obviously, I'm looking at that right now too. We got a perfect example. You know what I mean? So that's really cool, and I appreciate you saying that. I take pride in us building this thing bootstrap.
That's why I like this. Like I'm saying, I feel like we're in the same generation of content creators. And it feels authentic. I meet you guys, I'm like, oh, we're doing the same thing. This is, you guys have done this the same way I've done it, opposed to the earlier guys. Like I said, that like when I was younger and I'm looking around and I'm like, I don't want to put out a video where the whole thumbnail, the whole concept of this video is humiliating somebody they don't know.
That's right.
It just felt so disingenuous to me. It just felt like, I just don't want to be a part of that. I don't like what you guys are doing. You know, I like connecting with people. Like, clearly I'm a cheery guy. I'm like I'm not hard to get along with. You know,
you're so hard to get along with.
Rough, man. You know, tough conversation.
And I would just see that, and I'm like, I want to be like, of course, like there's like the Brian Callens, you know, Fighter and the Kids, like these types of people. And I was like, oh, they do group pods. They're friends. Like they make content, they hang out, they monetize it. And I saw that, and I was like, that's wholesome. That's what I want to do with my friends. That's cool. I want to do that. I don't like the clickbaity, we're making fun of this person during this.
I'm with you. When I was going through for about 6 months from March until I launched publicly September 2020 that year, I didn't tell anyone what I was working on. I did it all day, every day. And I would go through, I'd study every piece of content, not just podcasts and stuff. But I had never been into the vlogs. I knew who these people were, never really watched them. But what I would do is I would watch how they made the content, and I'd be very impressed with the skill of what went into some of that. Some of them not so much, but some of them were like very well put together, whatever. But I had the same thought where I'm like, this isn't real. This, like, I'm all about, you know, it, and I've talked to you about this a ton, and you a lot. Like, if I had to walk in here and change who I am as a person, it would never work. And it felt like in vlogs, it's like, it's not really.
You ever see a vlogger in person? You ever see him vlog? It's cringy.
I've never seen it.
Dude, it is. I'm not even gonna say it. Like, I was with a streamer and like watching them go, it's like, do you even like yourself? Like, that's gotta be a hard persona to keep up with. But I noticed that too, like the best vloggers, I think they're some of the most annoying people because they just ramble and they can talk for days and days, and they have that's a skill that other people see and like, that's fucking annoying. I can't be around that. But they're leveraging that to now getting millions of views on whatever they're doing. So like, kudos to them, but I agree. It just feels, you got to keep in mind, they blew up when making content was uncool, right? So all you really had to do in high school, if we all said, fuck it, we're going to make 6-second videos and we don't care what our friends think, we're going to be viral creators. We could have done that, but everybody around us was like, nah, that's just not the cool thing to do. Now we're playing in a space that everybody wants to be a creator. Nobody wants to be anything but a creator right now.
When did that happen?
It happened when people realized, holy shit, I get paid $50 grand to post a picture. Like, what the fuck?
Money?
It was money. They're going to parties with athletes. They're going to parties with celebrities. And like, now they are the ones that are getting in line. They're cutting the line before everybody else. So like, they are the new cool kids on the block.
You know what I noticed? The feeling of the people on Instagram are very different than the feeling of the people on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
Because Instagram are mostly people our age, maybe a little bit older, and they're fully aware of the monetary benefits of this. So they're much more stingy with engagement and stingy with follows.
They are, dude.
Opposed to TikTok, they're kids and they have no idea what's going on. They're just like, I like this guy, comment, follow. And I feel like there's an undertone of resentment on Instagram.
That's a really good point.
I think you're
You know what I'm
100%
saying?
Yeah,
right.
I never really thought of it. I never thought of it like that. But you post an ad on Instagram, it's like, boo, you sold out. I sold out. I'm doing this for a fucking living, man. What do you want me to tell you? Like,
Well,
I'm
people
supporting a
put-
brand that I like. You know?
Yeah.
People put their fake world on that too.
Right.
I would never do
like
that.
There's such a aesthetic, feel to Instagram and stuff. We've all been caught up in it at one point or another. But there's people who live on that lie.
Yeah.
And on TikTok, it's only video. Like obviously YouTube, Instagram's moving to a lot of video stuff now, but a lot of people still post pictures and stuff. On TikTok, it's like you can't really hide in video. If you do, you better be acting and you better be good at it. And there are people who are, but I'm saying like the average person can't. So there's more of a feel like. Also, the app launched off of the backs of 13, 14, and 15-year-olds. So in people's minds, it's wired as like, oh, the fun kids app. I can do what the fuck I want here.
Yep. One thing I really like about YouTube is that I feel like they have an understanding of how hard this is. And I feel like they appreciate it. And
When you say they, you mean your audience.
yes, I just feel like people that watch YouTube in general, obviously there's some mean people, but they could look at what you're doing and they go, wow, this is well put together. TikTok is just, wow, you entertained me for 2 minutes. I like you. You're somebody that I think is cool, right? And usually because they're younger, right? Instagram is, I resent you for pursuing this. And you know what I'm saying?
It really is like a small niche of people that don't fall in that bucket for some reason. Where like people are happy when they post it and they love to support, and then everybody else would like. I talk about the fitness space all the time because it's grueling, and I genuinely feel bad for those people.
Yeah.
Because now you live up to like I need to have abs to be happy.
John,
and get
pull that
views.
mic up a little bit.
Sorry. So you have like these like individuals you can probably count on one hand of like guys and girls that when they post everybody loves, and then everybody else trying to chase those people are just shit on every time. It really is a shitty scene.
You know who's doing an amazing job in the fitness space?
Sam Solik.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Joey Swoll.
Nowadays, I haven't seen him.
So
Swoll?
Joey Swoll has like obviously he's jacked, right? And I'm pretty sure he's from my town, but I never met him. But he has changed his content to correcting behavior in gyms. And he's absolutely jacked.
I've seen this guy.
Yeah. He's absolutely jacked. He was very big on YouTube, but he was a fit influencer. But then you have the people that do the vlogs like Bradley Martin. He has comedy mixed into his, of course.
Yeah.
And his are more vlog style, just very more like natural. Joey Swoll is just a fitness guy, and now he's like, you can't be like, somebody will record somebody making fun of them in the gym, and he stitches it and goes, the gym is a safe place.
Yes.
And you need to, like,
I've
at least
seen
he's
this,
there,
yes.
So you're a fan of him?
I just think it's cool that he like the issue that fitness people are running into, he pivoted to, I'm the jack guy in the gym, and I'm actually super nice.
So, and I don't know the guy, but I will combat what you're saying. But number one, I think the message is appropriate and right. That being said, Joey Swoll was the guy that, remember what Shreds was?
Yes.
So he's a Shreds athlete. The company
I met the founder of Shreds.
He lives. Yeah. So the company was known for kind of falsifying what they were selling and then having the first ever photoshopped athletes. Like that was their whole thing. Where like once they started exposing the guys that like, hey, that's a fake picture, everything kind of fell through. Now this guy, I do feel is a bit performative. Like I think the messages, I get it, dude, but you're not that nice of a guy.
No.
And people say that a lot. Like he's not as genuine and like, hey, so great to see you as he seems. And I think he is playing off the fact like he knows this is what does well now. Let me go run with that.
And what I'm saying, I wasn't vouching for him personally. I was saying he recognizes the trend of where he's at.
And he's doing it. That's smart. It's smart, man. Like,
Yes.
oh shit, I can now be the good guy and get millions of views.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I'm doing that.
Yes. Yeah. 100. Yeah.
And like, at the end of the day, the message is appropriate. Like, be nice to people in the gym.
I feel like the early content creators really took advantage of their audiences, and I feel like that's where a lot of the resentment grew because this supplement makes me jacked, and then 5 years later,
all your weight.
Yeah.
Minus the trend that I'm taking, but everything else,
Exactly.
It's my fish oil.
Because again, also when they were coming up, it was pictures only, so they could do all kinds of damage, and we didn't have all the Photoshop police like we do now.
Yep.
Right. So, I remember doing a podcast early on, one of the solo podcasts. I did like a 3-part series going through influencers and just researched it.
That's smart.
And I was like, some of it I had missed, other parts of it I had been very aware of that was going on, but I'm just like, what, I'd like to think, I guess I can't know unless I was there, but I'd like to think that there'd be something in me that before I press send on some of these things about like, this is going to make you lose all your weight pill or whatever, I would have been like, well, this is bullshit. You can't do this. Like, because I care about what I look like to people as far as like being someone who supports things that are not scammy and stuff like that. Like, you know how many brands, unless you've seen it, how many brands reach out all the time? And I'd love to take their money. My God. I feel like it's all the shitty brands that reach out. But they're reaching out with like some scam like crypto NFT or something. I'm like, no. We're not doing it. You know what I mean? Because you only have who you are. And once you lose that,
you know,
forget.
It's like an interesting strategy of like, if you have a really core audience, right? Like, let's say you had a Discord chat and you had like code words to be like, hey, look, I'm gonna make money on this ad. Don't buy it. I'm gonna use these words in my ad, so you know this is fake. And then you say those words in the video without having a wink, and everybody else knows. But the brand's like, we just got so many clicks.
This.
Yeah. You should totally buy this, and then say some dumb shit. But that is the problem. It's like the combination of like, we're doing this for a business, and I'm sure I've sold things that aren't as genuine as I would like them to be. But when you get caught up in the moment, like, you don't really. Not that you don't care, you lose sight of how I was telling this story the other day. We used to sell smoke kits, like little smoke boards, because smoke burn and stuff like that. Yeah. And in the beginning, I would go to Home Depot, buy a ton of like little wood thing, like pallets, and then wrap them up in like styrofoam and fucking sell them. It was ridiculous. And I was getting comments of like, what kind of wood is that? And I was like, I don't fucking know, pine. I must have commented pine 1,000 times until my dad is like, why do you keep saying pine? And I'm like, I don't know why, who cares? He's like, pine is toxic. You can't fucking burn pine. You're not, because it's finished.
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, holy shit, I may have just ruined somebody's day because I didn't take the time to really care and do the research on what I was actually selling.
Careful.
Yeah, you do, because you're young and stupid.
I just realized something.
You're like, oh wait, I sold pine too.
I just realized something in real time when, because sometimes you're doing stuff and you don't realize what you're doing, but you're trying to justify to yourself selling something. We had a really good connect for our merchandise. A very good friend of mine, his family owned a retail store at Navy Pier in Chicago. So they had connections to printers and manufacturers that we were able to get orders of very high quality garments for retail price. And I was like, you know what I think would be really cool is if I get the highest quality heavyweight hoodie that I can. That's $28 per unit. We're not going to make that much on it, but I could say, look at this, and I would show the screenshot of the website. I'm like, this is how much each one of these costs. This is the thread. You know that this isn't just a middleman merchandise. You're getting high quality hoodies from me. You're gonna have this forever. And then I would record videos at the print shop that was right down the street from our gym. I'd be like, look, I'm here during the printing process. And I just thought it was cool because I was in the middle of making merchandise, so I was like interested in it genuinely. But looking back at it, I was showing them, look, I care. Look, this is high quality.
Smart. You know who Saul Hank is? Do you know Saul Hank? He makes the sandwiches. Fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. Saul Hank?
He every video he slaps bread down, smears the sauce on the bread. Like that's every video, and it works every time. And he's consistent. So I'm sure you've seen it. But anyway, his strategy right now with his Saul and his book is very genuine, and it makes you feel like you're part of this. So he'll open up a video on a story and be like, guys, I'm super nervous. Like, please, I hope this goes well. Please support me. And now you feel like, oh, I have to be a part of this. Whereas like sometimes people go the opposite route and be like, we're crushing it. Another launch. Here you go. Go buy this because it's the best. He's like, no, I hope to God this goes well because the last 10 did not go well. And then you buy in. It could be all fake. That could be like a persona he's putting on. But he's crushed. He's doing a great job.
Yeah.
He seems like the homie,
Yeah, because that's the other thing. A lot of people they feel like they have to put on this like facade of like constantly like things are good or whatever.
Yeah.
There is something I've always felt like in being somewhat honest with the audience, like, hey, we're not doing this well right now, or hey, we got to improve this, or this thing's going wrong. There's some things obviously that happen behind the scenes that you can't really talk about publicly, which sucks. But I've always felt like, hey, I'd rather people know I don't own a couch yet than think I'm fucking balling over here.
Yeah. I tried this thing where I would have people in the audience send in designs, and I would feature the artist who made the design, and I would put it onto the hoodie. And
that's cool.
It is really cool No one bought any.
Oh, and not too cool.
And not too cool. I thought it was super cool, but then TikTok stopped showing my videos to people because I exposed them, which sucked. But now I have 400 hoodies in my closet at home.
Oh, no.
And now when people ask like, "Oh, can you please make some merch?" I go, "There is some." And I tell them the story of the tragic. I used all of the profits I made from the first merch drop.
Pain.
And then I did the second one.
Right there with you, man.
And
there's like 500 mugs outside that door. Please go fuck.
You want a mug?
The link is literally on the video. Who do I gotta fuck for a mug sale?
Please, Christ.
And they go, "I just don't really like this design." And I'm like, "I feel you." I was just trying to put a young artist on, like trying to make this like movement of young artists, just trying to like, I just think it's cool sharing your platform with people that aren't expecting it. Just because it's just like giving somebody that moment of they've been grinding, learning how to design things, and they like my stuff and they send it in, and I go, "Bro, I'm putting this on a hoodie and I'm selling it because you're sick. Keep going." Because how much that would mean to me at that time. You know what I'm saying? And I was planning on sharing the profits with them, but we didn't sell. There was no profits.
Oh, so you're genuine. But
it's like
that
a
story
guy.
is like really,
That's
I had this whole thing where I was like, if we sell these out, I'm gonna FaceTime this kid and I'm gonna tell him. I didn't tell him.
That's sick.
I didn't tell him ahead of time, and I was like, I'm gonna FaceTime this kid and I'm gonna be like, "Bro, you got 15% of this. This is how much you got. What's your Venmo?"
Damn.
And nobody bought it.
That story though is like so close. I mean this in like a genuine way. It's like so close to being on the right side of the coin.
Yes.
Where like you're only one more idea away from that being the reality. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever happens next, that genuineness and that like creativity of selling, that's how I feel like big name artists. Like I was in an Eden gallery a couple days ago and I saw Alec Monopoly's pictures all over the place. I'm like, how much of that one? She's like, 100 and some thousand. I'm like, how do you get there? You know what I mean? Like now your name is so well known. And I'm sure there's like little stories like that that are just so cool that now he hopped up and up and up steps, Yeah, his stuff is so sick.
I've seen
I think a parallel to that is Russ. You seen
Yeah,
how Russ went about it?
exactly.
I watched this interview of him. He's really cool.
He was just on Flagrant, I think, a little bit ago.
Yeah,
right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And he was talking about having a catalog when people find you,
Yeah.
right? And the idea of having a big, massive body of work that nobody's ever seen. You make them feel something one time, but now there's all this. And I used that.
Yes.
I built playlists on TikTok. You guys know the playlist feature, of course. And I had like when a video would go viral, I would go, "Hey guys, if you like something like that, all you have to do is go to my profile, click this playlist, and there's 40 videos just like that." And I would turn one view into 40.
All right, I've been doing this one. I'm on this
That's
one.
smart.
Yeah, I've been doing this on YouTube. Yeah.
And this goes back to TikTok, which is it's probably gonna piss you guys off even more about TikTok. They nerfed that because I crushed doing that. Because
What do you mean they nerfed it?
They nerfed it. Do you know what nerf means? Like the Call of Duty reference, nerfing something? Basically, they said new stipulations to creativity program. You only get paid for views that are on the For You page.
Get the fuck out of here.
Come
You guys see that?
on.
That's why they say
So
like
you don't get paid if someone goes.
To your profile.
They're hurting over there.
Yeah.
President G's not happy.
That's crazy. I love that term though, by the way. Get nerfed. I fucking love
Yeah,
it.
they nerfed it. I was like, "Oh, this is perfect." I have these playlists, and I would see it happen. I would send them to the playlist, and boom, every video you see your activity page, and everything starts going crazy. And I'm like, "Oh, we're
rich."
Yeah, a 5 million video. We have one video that goes 5 million, and we actually got 30 million views because of it.
That's awesome.
Right?
That's still helpful for your brand though. But overall,
Yeah, 100%. But they nerfed that, and then they also the following tab. You don't get paid for that either. So
what?
Yes, bro. So this is why we had to jump ship, because it's like I made a whole thing because then there's the angle of like, "Hey guys, I'm trying to," like, you give them a goal. You guys are in this with me. I'm gonna keep posting every day for this. Can you guys help me get to 1 million followers? I'm trying to change my life. I'm trying to support my family, right? And they get you there. And then TikTok goes, now you don't get paid for the people that support and watch you. So it's only for you. So the 1 million people, we should be getting 1 million views on every single video we post, and get like, if they want to throw out of the RPM, all good. Like, you want to give me 50, 30 cents, that's fine. At least I have stability.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
They follow me, and the people that want to see my stuff, I don't get paid for the people that want to see my stuff.
That's so ass
wild.
backwards.
It just doesn't make sense. Again,
Because your whole business, John, like, you have the greatest setup ever, because pretty much you make drinks and then you hit up the alcohol companies and say, "Hey, we're making a gin and tonic. Who's got the highest bid?"
Yeah.
So it's an ad without an ad. But like, if you're working on telling a story that doesn't have like a product placement in there, you're living off that kind of money.
Luckily, now they're like, that was an issue because the brands they're like, how do we fit this in here? How do we do it? And I was like, I could say I was drinking this water, I was drinking out of this mug. I could plug it into a story, nobody would notice. But the brands don't see that. They don't see that angle of it.
They don't let you just like, again, you're drinking water and say, you know, mid-story, this video is sponsored by blank, and then move on.
No, because it would crush the pace of the story.
It would.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's true, man.
Because it's immersive. My stuff's very immersive.
He's very immersive, yeah.
I'd be so curious to see like a drop-off line as soon as you're like, this video is sponsored by.
Yeah. We never did it on TikTok and then there's also like the brands don't respect, like I'm sure for you it works. So they're like, oh, we'll pay you a fair rate. Yeah. For us, they're like, we don't see how this is working.
It's not organic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But on YouTube, it's we're lucky now because we we have a Doberman Pinscher, and we'd be like, hey, we have this dog who's kind of like a badass looking dog food companies. This is part of our life. We could push this. That. This is like wholesome stuff that's in there, and I get to record a video with my dog.
There's also there's a bigger expectation of that on YouTube where it's a longer form video. You're
it's
doing
common.
A 15, 20 hour minute video or something. They have to pay for this somewhere in there, and people have like on YouTube they're clicking it. Mm-hmm. They made this decision. They went to a whole fucking new page, and they're there. Yeah. Now on mobile, some people will click off. Sure, you still have that, but on TikTok, the algorithm god clicked it for them, and the minute that they're not entertained, doop doop doop.
I'm sure you guys all notice it too on TikTok. I've stayed with the same shtick if you guys have too. And I'd have to drop like 3 to 4 seconds now every couple months because that's how bad the attention span. So I used to start with an intro like this, I'd add some flair, I'd add this, and now I have to cut all that to go right to the main. Yes. Like you said, you have a really good hook. Maybe it's a picture for me, like a nice looking cocktail or a question I have. And then all the bullshit that I used to put in, I can't even my dad drops a spoon. I used to keep it in it because it's kind of fun. I can't even have that shit in there anymore.
That's right.
It's fucking insane.
Yeah. I know when one of your videos is gonna go before it does, because I'm like, well, how quick were they into it?
Yeah, dude. I know it's fucking. I threw my dad a banana the other day. I was like, hey, can you make me a cocktail? And he's like, let's make a blank. And instead of me going and saying, all right, Dad, you're gonna make me a blank, let's do it, I cut all that and I got right to the scene of him chopping up the banana. Like it has to be that quick right now. Yeah. And it's insane. I'm sure you guys have more pressure for that than me.
I'm going completely against that.
You are.
So I am now taking. So a lot of the stories, like we have the full long ones, right? They're an hour long. Obviously, the limit is 10 minutes on TikTok. But sometimes we do 3-story compilations that are 8 to 15 minutes ish. They add up to 45. I'm just taking that full story and we're completely reconverting it into a TikTok tall, and I'm posting 9-minute videos.
Yeah, but hold on.
I don't even care.
Alessia, can you pull up my YouTube page real quick and hit popular videos? I think I know why this is. So, John, when you're doing these things, they tend to be an acted out scene. It's not someone up on a mic, up close like that. Mm-hmm. There's a scene. There's more for people to process. There's more people in it. If you look at our most popular videos of all time, I'm going to look at these first 8. Sean Ryan right there, number 2, doesn't count because Sean is an enormous YouTuber. Great guy, by the way. Everyone check out his channel. And promoted the fuck out of this video and made that go, and it was an incredible episode. But if you look at the other videos, Paul Rosalie, Joe Tedeye, James Fox, Matt LaCroix, and Andy Bustamante represent the top episodes. Mm-hmm. What they all have in common is they all speak quickly, and they all have massive charisma. Now, James Fox sometimes will speak slower, but he has massive charisma. Yeah. Oh my God, you have to see a stick like that. So anyway, so he keeps you because he's like, and Alessi's laughing because he made moment of contact with him down in Brazil, so he knows it up close. But like all these people, they have a way of drawing you in. Mm-hmm. You have that same exact thing. So when people hit your video, you talk very quickly, but you talk well, you speak well, and you have charisma to your voice. You have a way of doing these scripts where, and I was talking about this off camera with you, but you do these scripts to where the tonality works. And I know you're doing line by line and remembering what the line was and then going with it. So it's like you're doing them all separately, but it sounds like it's continuous, which is very, very hard to do. So when someone is clicking a video with John and his dad, and they're clicking a video with you, these are two very different. And same with Click of Mine. They're very, very, very different content strategies. So you can do something where, like, okay, you have that opening hook line like you talked about earlier and laid out how that is, and then lay the patchwork because you're also like eyes right there looking at him talking.
It's funny you say that. I don't wear glasses when I record because I have intense eyes.
That's right.
And people say it, and they're like, and I'll make sure that the first clip is me looking away and then looking right at the camera. So it's like the psychology of somebody looking away from you, then I'm telling you a story. I'm right here. And I'll be like here. So it's like, it's intense, and I do the thing the same way you made me take the thumbnail, out of the top of my eyes.
Go to shorts. Go to our shorts.
That's smart.
And I make sure it's intense, and like just start off with just like you feel like I'm looking at you.
Do you notice a difference in when you look away and then start versus just starting straight?
If it starts off happy-go-lucky and not intense, they don't do as well.
Right.
That's what I noticed.
No, I'm talking about if you just started real intense or versus here and then going. Nothing really. Crazy.
Nothing really. Nothing really. Yeah.
Yeah, the intense drags them in.
Yeah. I also noticed that. I also noticed that more amateur-looking podcast clips do better.
Dude, I was just gonna say this before. We live in a day and age now with TikTok. It's this frustrating balance of less is more, but understand exactly what you have to be doing. Nobody wants to see this like perfect. You know, if you, it's like, oh, you're trying way too hard, dude. I'm not gonna like this thing. You want to see people using text on the TikTok app. You want to see them kind of fucking up work. I've spelled things wrong just because then I get comments.
It's real.
They're like, oh, sick fucking way to spell that word.
Bro, we put mistakes in our story so they correct us.
Yeah, dude, it's smart.
That's engagement harvesting. I like that.
We did this.
Yeah, it's smart.
We did this one that started off as a true story. It was a kidnapping story, right? So it started off as a true story where this dude almost got me and my sister at a Subway, right? He was just a creepy old dude with like really soft hands, right? True story, happened to us.
You felt him?
He shook my hand. He's like, and what's your name, young man? And I was like, David. You know, I just lied to his face. But we made that seem like he honed in on me, and then when we extended it, that he like actually eventually kidnapped me, and it was this whole creepy thing where he was keeping me captive in my local park district, right? In there, I put the way that I got out is that I found a Game Boy Advance that was in a lost and found bin in there, and it had a messenger thing in it. Right? So the Game Boy Advance used to have a messenger thing, and that's how I got the word out to my friend. We played Pokemon together, so I was able to do that. So that was the climax of me escaping from that story. But I said that he was forcing me to play the Game Boy, and he had an infatuation with watching me play. So he would sit there at the edge of the cage, rub his belly with lotion. That's how his hands got so soft. Creepy. But the Game Boy game was Game Boy Yellow. It was Pokemon Yellow, right? You play Pokemon Yellow?
No, but I know, yeah.
You don't get to choose your starter Pokemon. It's Pikachu. And I said I chose Charmander. Yeah, complete liar. You didn't get to choose your starter Pokemon in Pokemon Yellow because it's a it's a cultural moment in time where people remember, like, no, when it's Pokemon Yellow, I got
Pikachu. People
want
to be right.
And they're like, you're a dumb as shit.
They want to be right so bad. They want to be like, I know this and you don't. Yeah. Fuck.
I'll be like, we showed up to this place. It was me, this person, and this person. So 3 people all together. And then I go, and I'll say like 4 people walk back.
You do that on purpose.
You said that there was 3 people there. Just so they're like, you're dumb as shit. It was 4 people. This kid's definitely lying.
See, the problem works really well for him. If we did that, now we're spreading misinformation. Like if I was like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, here's how to make a Negroni, and I like completely fucked it up. Now people walk around like, well, Johnny Drinks told me to fucking make it like this, and now you're an idiot.
But you're telling stories.
It's amazing. You can't go out and be like, this is how to do something. This is what I learned, because it's fucking fake.
I can't be like, saying which president is.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't be wrong.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, no. You're just that's a really good strategy.
Yeah, it's we noticed it one time, and I was like, oh, we're doing this forever now.
I love that.
Right, and I wanted to bring this up because we brought up James Fox.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Jeremy Corbell because he was the first dude that actually had a following that gave me the time of day. And
how so?
Before I was doing like interview style stuff, I didn't know where I was going with the content. I didn't know storytelling. And I was just the same way you guys reach out to people. You guys have the list of people that you're interested in. I was like, I like the UFO topic. Jeremy, I've seen him on some pods. And I emailed him and he emailed me back personally. He's like, yeah, I'll come on. And he was such a nice dude, and he gave me 2 hours of his time. We had a great pod. I don't even think it's up anymore because I niched down my channel, but I just want to give him a shout out because he's a really good dude. And usually people with a platform, like I had nothing at the time, 0. Like I'm talking like 200 subs, and he's like, I'll give you 2 hours of my time.
I think about that often. Like I'm always trying to take the calls. I don't see all of them come in or whatever. I answer DMs as much as I can. I answer a lot of emails because we're all, you all start somewhere, and at one point you were that person. I never really did a lot of reach out to people because I figured they'd never answer. But like when people do, I'm like, all right, that takes balls to do that.
Yeah,
like, let's go. We've had people in the studio that like George reached out. I was like, fuck yeah, come on in. You know what I mean?
I hope you guys feel it. Like once, like I called Alessi, really good dude, super cool. We're FaceTiming in my yard. He has a Doberman too. We love the same kind of dogs. I was like, I like this guy. And he was like, oh, Julian said, we'd like to have you on the pod. I'm like, cool. we booked a flight 2 days later.
That's
and
so
I wanted to make it as efficient as I possibly could for you guys. Like, hey, this is when we could do it. Let's get this done, because I know how hard it is to reaching out.
No, I appreciate you doing it too, because like we ramped up the volume of podcasts, and like I used to cover all the travel for everyone, but now it's like some, if they're coming from really far, like we'll get it or something like that. But you know, having people come in here and being able to take time out of their day to do that, I really appreciate it. Makes this thing go.
And being here, we'll probably do a story here. We'll probably figure it out. Like
there's a lot of stories. So walk along Sinatra Drive, you'll see a few.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And then walk inland Hoboken, and you'll see some stories for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take you down the street.
We want to start traveling and doing this, like wherever the story takes place, we want to shoot it there.
That's smart.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Hold that thought for 1 minute. I just gotta go to the bathroom.
Cool.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, but it's forgiveness with like, I feel like the behind it is much more angry than forgiveness. Because I'm like, you're fucked.
But it's their loss.
That's if you're willing to fuck someone like me over who only gave you opportunity.
Dude, I'm with you 100%. We're back on now.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I mean, like sometimes I'll get. We were just talking off camera about people who fuck you over, but like sometimes, you know, I mean, unless he sees me, I'll get really pissed off when someone does something. But it's a good thing they're not standing there.
Yeah.
You know, because then I'll simmer down. You've seen it too. Yeah, I'll simmer down a little bit, and I'm like, you know what, whatever. I say, look, God bless. That's the end of it. Because if you let it continue to take up spot in your mind, well, now they are winning something. They're not even trying to win.
Yeah. I don't have time for that. You know, like we've been through a lot of struggles. She's from a worse part of Chicago than I am. You know, and we finally just got out of it. You know, like my life is so different today than it was last year. And every day I wake up, I live in a house that I pay for, that I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to, like, literally this time last year, I was commuting on a Unagi scooter in the middle of winter to the Loop on public transportation in Chicago. Eyelashes completely covered in ice, closed, because it was the only money that, like, it was the only thing that I had. I couldn't afford a car, and I had to take this scooter, get on a train, and scoot in the middle of winter with ice to this job that I had to work at 6 days a week. Jesus. And today I live in a house.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. And what could this person do to me that is going to get me out of the happiness that I'm in? They can't. There's nothing you could do. If you try to hit me, that's it. Like, I'll handle it, but it's like I won't even follow up. I don't care.
Right.
I don't even have time for an argument.
You also know you could destroy him too, because you're good at jujitsu.
I haven't trained in a while.
Isn't it crazy how insecure you feel on a mat? Where like if you take off a month, you're back on mind like, oh fuck, I don't know anything.
You train a lot consistently, right?
Now pretty consistent.
No, all my friends are really good. Yeah. You know, like one of my best friend, Ebro, he's a black belt. He's a freak. He's so good. So he messes me. I feel him. I'm like, I'm rusty, and he got good. You know, so
it's a shitty feeling.
But it's I gauge that through my friends who are fighting for one championship, who are black belts, who teach classes in big schools. So I know I'm all right, but like to your average guy. But I feel rusty. Like I tell him, like, dude, my shoulder's hurting. I feel like I can't throw a good right. Like I don't want somebody to come up with this. I can't throw a bomb.
But then you realize, like, you go to the bar, you're like, all right, these would be like toddlers trying to fight me.
I've been sober for 5 years.
Good for you, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What made you want to do that?
Family. And like it's you know what I'm saying.
You had it hereditary.
Yeah, I just didn't want that in my life. You know, like every sad part of my life, the core of it was substance abuse and the adults around me. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, oh, very clear sign that that's not what you don't do.
Was it in your own house?
Sometimes. I love my parents. They gave me a house to, you know, they did everything. Right. I have nothing bad to say about my parents. Love them. They supported me. I saw in some places that we had to live out of financial reasons. I saw things when I was young that were not good, you know? And now once I was at an age where I was like, I don't have to do this. I don't have to go to a bar. I haven't been to a bar in 5 years. All I do is train and do this.
We're going to take you to one in a couple hours.
That's why I've eaten at a bar. Yeah. I've eaten at a bar.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like I don't go to a pub for food. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
I haven't went out to a bar in 5 years.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like I like the way my life is set up. I like training. I like being at home. I cook a lot, actually. I really like cooking. I like living my life the way I like to live my life. I like to feel good. I like to train hard, and I like to tell good ass stories.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. That's it.
Imagine trying to tell a story hungover. It would.
No, yeah, dude.
No. It's also
I can't make content hungover.
Yeah,
no way.
Like all I wanted as a kid was an adult that was there for me every time, and so I just want to be that. You know, like you meet the same person every time. When I worked at jiu-jitsu schools, these people are coming to here for this is a consistent thing in my life. I want to be a pillar for that person.
Yeah.
So if you come near me, you're getting the same me every single time. You know what I'm saying? And it carries over into every part of our life. You know, I try to be the best partner I can to her. I'm the same person every single day. And I just try to do that. And I've been doing it for 5 years. And on the 5-year mark, I got my 100K subscriber. On the same day I quit drinking, 5 years later, I got 100. I got the plaque in the mail.
Oh, good for you, man.
It's
That's
weird.
awesome.
Cool.
It's weird. It was a weird day. Because I'm like, this is the day I quit 5 years ago. And I made it today.
That's pretty cool, man.
It's weird, right?
When was that?
September 12th, my birthday.
Good for you.
Yeah. And it came in on my birthday. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's the universe lining up.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I keep on burying the lead on coming to some of your videos right here. Can we pull up his channel, Leslie? Yeah. I want to take a look at this one. I mentioned it earlier because
Look at that brand. That's all my designing right there.
yeah, it's good, man. I like it. Click the popular and then click the party I wish I never went to, which is starting to blow up right now. By the way,
Yeah.
I noticed
It's
that.
picking up now.
Like I watched it 2 days ago. It was at like 90,000 views.
Yeah, I upped the
All right.
SEO. I've been learning SEO and stuff.
Let's get the volume on.
Look at that. Fresh shaved face.
Channel. I encourage you to like and subscribe if you want, right? It helps me. If it helps me, it helps you. The more it helps me, the more stories I can get to you. So liking and subscribing, just absolutely backflip onto that subscribe button if you don't mind. Yeah. This story I dropped a few months ago and it didn't get any traction when I initially started dropping it. And then it started to blow up on Facebook a month later after I had already abandoned it and moved on. But a lot of people demanded another part. So this is going to be the full story of the society with an extra.
This is hard to watch for me, by the way.
I'm so happy people
You're doing great.
started enjoying this. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the show. So this story is the reason I stopped making content for 5 years. You guys remember when all those Vine stars and skit Instagrammers moved to LA in like 2015-ish? So I wasn't a huge creator at the time, but I was there and around it all as all of that stuff.
I bought this.
See, bro, I watched this and
Pause it real fast.
I watched this and I go, I got so much better.
That I saved up working.
Then this video.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
video is so good.
Look
though.
where he paused it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is you at the
Little
Steak
bow
and
tie.
Shaker. What was it called?
Steak and Shake.
Steak-
I was a
it was
waiter
Steak
at
and
Steak and
Shake?
Shake. I was drive-through at Steak and Shake.
Yeah. Is that when you fell in love with him, Jess?
No, we met a year ago.
It's like,
I know,
I
I
didn't meet
was-
that
I
person.
I was making a joke.
Oh, my bad. Just over my head.
She's like, hell no.
Yeah, that bow tie. Some. All right, go ahead. Is it on?
It's the mouse. Come on.
At Steak and Shake with this other aspiring creator named David. I was much more into editing and being behind the
Dobrik.
camera at that time, and he was much more into Vine and vlogs and being on camera. That time of our lives was absolutely crazy. Everybody was broke, posting anything we could onto YouTube to get some attention. I happened to get a spot at the now notorious 1600 Vine apartments.
Lie.
You lying son of a bitch.
Everyone was collaborating with everyone, and it was the era of clickbait YouTube. And to be honest, it was extremely fun for the first few months. Until Hollywood started to notice that influencers were the next big thing, and that the landscape of the industry was changing. And we started to get invited to more exclusive parties and events, where it seemed as if old Hollywood was almost grooming new Hollywood. And there was rumors of this one gathering that was happening on a monthly basis, where it seemed like anybody that got invited saw a massive jump in their numbers, secured huge brand deals right after attending. But apparently this gathering worked on a buddy system. Someone had to vouch for you and bring you as a guest.
This is
and
all
by
fake.
blind luck, me and David ended up getting invited. Some talent agents saw me and David shoot a silly skit at a random party. He didn't invite us that second. He just told us that he saw something special in us and took our contact information. And listen, people do that
Should've
all the
known
time.
right
in LA,
there.
but this guy had a different.
Yeah. So just to give you a breakdown of this concept, if you just want an idea of with the reason of the narrative. So I didn't blatantly say that that's David Dobrik. Me and David Dobrik are from the same area in Chicago, and I
catching
applied
it now.
You're catching it now, right?
Yeah.
So like everything is very calculated in these. Like I put breadcrumbs in it for people to come to their own conclusions. You know what I'm saying? This story goes into like they bring us to it follows like the Dante's Inferno. Each room is each room is
I've never read that. Like worse and worse.
it's 7 layers of hell basically, right? So first one is limbo, second one is gluttony, third one is greed, fourth one is anger, and so on, right? And the last ones are like treachery and violence and stuff like that, or anger, treachery, and whatever. So each room that you go into, everybody is so bought into the concept of this next room. And the first one, I just imply it by saying, yeah, there's like A-list celebrities here and they're like really into playing limbo. And I'm acting like I don't understand what's happening, but I'm implying that this is the limbo room. And the next one goes in and there's a big feast and these A-list are like shoving food in their mouth, like disgusting. And I go, what is up with these people? This is gross. These people are horrible. And the next room is, it's like the sexual one. What's that one? Lust. And then that's where it starts to get a little bit flirty. People are doing like that type of stuff. But I say I'm
All
too
behind the masks.
Exactly. I say I'm a little bit too young. This is making me uncomfortable. They're flirting with me too much. But David is loving this attention. right? And he starts buying into this concept. And the whole concept is that this party is a slow drip into treachery. And in treachery, you have to go and do what they say that you have to do, like the horrible Hollywood things, like as far as, go ahead.
Had you heard stories like this? Not necessarily the same thematics that you came up with the details, but had you heard from people you know some things that happen in Hollywood?
Only on like what you hear, like on podcasts and things of that nature, like the Cat Williams shit, and then like you see like how Diddy.
They were coming in and they were just getting freaky in that back room. That shit was.
You see the one where he's like, they all have the same ugly white wife? You see that one? I was like, that's just crazy.
The dude's fucking funny. Real or not, the dude's fucking funny.
They're pulling up screenshots of dudes' wives. I'm like, that's the most disrespectful shit I've ever seen.
That's so nuts, bro.
I knew Baphomet was a trans 30 years ago.
So yes, there's layers of that, but then it's my sister actually. My sister has been a waitress at Freemasons parties. That's all I want to say. That's all I want to say. But
That's all you can say?
Yeah. Okay. But she was like, you should do it like this because at these parties they do it like this. Yeah. So, but her, like, these aren't bad dudes. They're like really like low level.
No, they're just great.
What is the Freemason?
It's a secret. This Freemason, and we looked at like everything we do. We research. So
I can tell.
Yeah. So Freemasonry is a secret society. It's the oldest secret society known. Right. So, and you have to go through initiations, but there's like levels to like Freemasons. Basically, it's a bunch of men that come together, everybody pools money, and then the leaders go, you go do this and run this business out of this big pool of money. We're going to open this, and you're going to be the manager and face of this. And they run cities based that way. So it's like dudes come together, and they pool money, and they...
It's like the mob.
Yes.
Yes, but they try to legalize it in a way, but it's not.
Yeah. Similar to Scientology, honestly. But
Really?
Freemasonry... Yeah.
All right, let's not...
Yeah, right? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close. Like, it's pooling of money. And then they assign you something. Yes. And then there's secret handshakes and there's secret initiations and things of that nature.
Are they violent?
Bro, there's a Freemason temple a block away from our old studio. And I was like, hey, we should like maybe ask somebody outside. Then we decided against it. And then we were like, we probably shouldn't do this video until we move away from the studio.
Why? Will they get violent towards you if you're not?
I don't know.
You might wake up to like a dead bird on your pillow or some shit.
Just to like warn you a little bit.
Have you ever seen Eyes Wide Shut, the movie?
No.
It was 99. It was Stanley Kubrick's last movie. So he goes to finish the main edit and dies. Now he was a fossil. He was old. He was like 70 or some shit. But dies of a heart attack conveniently. It was Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. And the plot is around, see that guy with the mask, the gold mask right there? Let's click that one, Alessi. Down. Right there, yeah. That's Tom Cruise, right? And he's wearing like a masquerade mask. What happens is he lives in New York City, and I forget how it goes down, but he ends up being invited to this secret party at some fucking big-ass estate in Westchester County. It's dark, backwoods, the whole bit. He goes in, and all these people are wearing these weird masks and fucking each other.
Yeah.
And and then he ends up getting like demasked there, because he does something, I forget what it is. I'm not going to go through the whole plot, but like they end up following him around and like torturing his life, and it's like this secret like sex society or whatever. And so they say like, oh, did Kubrick get murked because he made like the Hollywood movie? I mean, the guy was Kubrick was also like trying to be sketchy. Like he filmed it at like the Rothschild mansion in like London. Yeah, like he was trying to be like this. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go through all those stereotypes.
It's funny.
Here.
Like I don't get into like any of the conspiracy theories, or I don't go down rabbit holes at all.
Yeah.
But then as soon as you start telling stories like this, I'm like, oh, I get it. I can sit here and start going,
I've been to that party.
You know, like, yeah, I can hear about, like, I hear this. I'm like, well, tell me more. I'm like, oh, Rothschild. I've heard the name. Like, what's the story behind them? And
I think that whole thing's crazy. But
you want to know some crazy
shit? It was Kubrick trying to be like, you know, like, oh, I'm going to put this in there too.
Yeah.
You want to know some crazy shit?
Of course I do. You're here.
My mom's elementary school or middle school, I forget, is the building that was gifted to Jeffrey Epstein. She went to that school. I swear.
The apartment here.
Yes. My mom went to that school. I swear, dude. That was gifted to him. He was gifted.
The Macy's apartment on 71st.
Whatever apartment that is that used to be a middle school is where my mom went to middle school. Sorry, my Zyn slip.
When people come into town, I take people there.
Yeah.
I'm like the tour guide. I'm like, well, here it is.
I swear.
Can we get the Danny Jones picture? He put it up.
Yep. But so this one, I go to this thing, and there's the the rooms keep escalating, and I basically take the part of like, I'm not doing any of it. And the agent that invites me comes up and says, a slow drip is better than a flood. And he's saying, you start here and you do every single room. So when it gets to treachery, you did the slow drip. It's not going to feel like anything. So if you don't engage in the activities of every room, he knows you're not going to do it. And the room before treachery, there's a line, and they have every single holy book, Bible, Quran, and so on. And they say, which one is yours? And they put the book out, they put a symbol on the front of it, and they say, repeat these lines after me. I am my own God. I bow to nobody but myself.
Wait, I'm sorry, what is this?
This is in the story.
This is your fake story?
Yeah.
All fake?
Yeah, all fake.
Where the fuck did you come up with this? I was like, wait, am I have to repeat this to
Jess
somebody
is
else?
sitting back there going,
Bro,
Wow,
it's
that's insane.
It's about the lines. I'm telling you, like, when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, what would be the creepiest shit if someone says, holds you your book, the one that you believe in, the one
that was so good.
like the one that you're like, I live by this. I live by this book. And they say, put your hand on it and say, I bow to no God. I bow to nobody but myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And basically what you're saying is you're pulling away your attachment to God, and whatever happens in this room, you're willing to do because you bow to nobody but yourself. So you're willing to do.
You want to buy the way I took it. Tell me if I'm right or wrong here. Is that it's like you want the fame, you want the things that come with it. You're gonna worship the money, which is us.
I am the false idol.
Right.
It's me. I have no connection to anything else that is higher than me. It's me. Anything that I do in this world, in this life, has no consequences. And doing that frees you from the burden of those consequences.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the biggest issue with society nowadays.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, I'm an atheist. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Exactly. Exactly. And they're out of touch.
There's my boy Danny Jones when he was here in August. I took him to Epstein's.
Funny.
We were just standing there, and we're standing across the street, and he's just watching people, like bike by and shit, walk by. He's like, "Do these people know what this is?" I'm like, "No, they don't know what it is."
Inside, knock on the door.
But it's such a you haven't been there? I take it?
No.
It's creepy. It's very weird. Like it's
imagine.
I'm like used to it, but you're
This
like,
was his
damn,
apartment?
there's some history that happened there, and it wasn't good.
Imagine being my mom knowing she went to grade school.
I
there.
know.
This was his apartment?
Yeah, so this was the apartment in New York. He had 6 places, right? So he had New York, he had Palm Beach, he had that commune in Ohio. What the hell was it called? What's the name of that town?
I'm not sure.
It's the place that like Wexner built. It's really rich. And then he had the Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. He had the island in fucking the Caribbean. And then he had an apartment in Paris. And then I guess Guylaine had some apartment in London. But this place, to your point, creepily enough, was a little girl's school before he had it. And it was originally built for the founder of Macy's, but before it was finished, he died. So then the school, it was turned into a school. School gets bought by Les Wexner. Les Wexner then puts it into some estate or whatever and transfers ownership to Epstein, I think in 96, but he started living there in like 92. And then he did what he did in there. And this, like, I've shown you the Google Maps of it. You see all the townhouses next to it, and you think they're all like, oh, they're all big too. They're all similar size, and they are big. His goes all the way back though. Like it goes all the way. Like theirs is like, I'm gonna make up square footage right now. Theirs is 10,000 square foot. His is 28,000 square foot or whatever. I think it's more than that. But like, it's just such a creepy fucking place.
How do you know all this?
I mean, I've been there, my guy.
Yeah. They don't write that on the door.
No, you can, but you Google it and you're like, this is
the
what
entire
it looked like.
story. How do you know all that?
There's some documentaries.
Epstein,
and stuff.
there's a lot. I'll show you.
All right, after. Thanks, man.
Inside of that apartment, above a fireplace, and correct me if I'm wrong about the placement of it, he had a portrait of George Bush throwing airplanes at towers.
I don't remember where the placement was, but he did have that portrait. Yes,
Like
it was 2 paper airplanes at towers.
Almost like
Before 2001.
Well, we think he had it after.
Yeah, but it was almost like the feeling you get from it is like he had this in here displayed in his apartment as if he had blackmail on him.
Yeah, and
it was
also,
almost like a flex.
And then the other one there, unless you see the Bill Clinton one, this one we know was hanging like right in there when you walk in. He had Bill Clinton in Monica Lewinsky's dress pointing at you.
Nah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Like if that's not
nuts.
like I own you, bitch. Like
Nah,
my
that's so
God.
nuts. Wait, go back to the George Bush one.
Yeah, this is that.
Where are
it's
the
kinda
where are the
funny.
Twin Towers in this?
They're the Jenga. They're gone.
How crazy is that?
Who painted these?
Actually, we know who it is. Click the New York Post one. That it says that the one right to the right. Yeah. It says the name of the artist in this. Mike Spear and me pulled this up in 2021. Go down. What's the name of her? A woman who visited Epstein. Damn it. Wait, go up.
This one right here.
Go up, Alessi.
Katrina, right?
Yeah, Patrina Ryan Klett. That's it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and he would go pick up young girls around art shows and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was just he was a sick
I
fuck.
got to dive into more Epstein.
Yeah.
I have another one for you.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, you ready? I'm into this stuff. I'm a
I can
story
tell.
guy, but I'm into this stuff. I don't talk about it anymore. But a lot of the old content, my YouTube shorts don't perform well because I did an in-depth breakdown of Hunter Biden. And since then, they do not perform well because I did it short form onto YouTube.
That's
about
so
Hunter.
interesting that you guys both deal in a space where like you fear getting shut down because of saying
He's
dumb
making
shit.
drinks.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never had that happen.
I respect him because he's continued down that road. That happened to me, and I was like, oh, so they actually do this. Yeah. And I did a big breakdown of Hunter Biden and like have you seen the tattoos on his back? That was the freakiest part to me.
What is it?
No.
Oh, he has tattoos on his back of the Finger Lakes. And if you look up the Finger Lakes, look up Hunter Biden Finger Lakes tattoo, and then they show where it is demographically.
Come on.
And that apparently is a hub for human trafficking around those lakes.
Really?
Yes.
What?
We'll censor that.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
What?
Was I not supposed to say that?
No, you can say whatever you want.
Okay,
but like,
okay.
is that real?
I don't know. I mean,
That
we're
sounds
looking
like
at we're looking at the same thing, a selfie of him.
That's a hub for. That's where they're doing human trafficking in the middle of the country.
Maybe I went down the wrong rabbit hole.
I feel like they'd be taking them to the Port of Elizabeth. Like that's a lot
That's
more.
up north though, dude. That's
you know.
that's near New York.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Bring them right across the Atlantic. No one knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually went to a wedding in New Jersey in a really odd, sketchy, rich area that I was like, wow, this is weird. I forget exactly where it was, but it was years ago. But I remember being there. I'm like, this is really beautiful here. This is for the hyper rich, but there's oddly not many people around, on these estates and around these lakes. But that just because I'm conspiracy minded.
Why did he get that tattoo?
I don't know. That's actually the first I'm hearing about that. Unless he's right on it. Finger Lakes, human trafficking. Okay. Explore the secret tunnels network underneath. Son of a bitch.
Wow.
There you go.
Click that first one, the travel.
Here we go.
That seems like
I love where this podcast went.
You thought we were talking about stories. I watched a little bit of your content. I knew where I was going.
All right, explore the secret tunnels. All right, go up, Alessi. I want to read the actual. Explore the secret tunnels network underneath Finger Lakes. What happens in the dark passages underneath the Finger Lakes? Take a tour of the tunnels and find out. All right, now go down. Finger Lakes region played an important role in the Underground Railroad. That's interesting. So that was it started positive, took the wrong turn. Provided safe passage for enslaved people to escape to Canada in the 17th to 19th centuries. During Prohibition, the Finger Lake tunnels were used to smuggle alcohol into the United States, also positive, making the region a hotspot for speakeasies and rum running from 1920 to 33. While there are rumors and conspiracy theories about illegal activities happening in the Finger Lakes tunnels today, access to them is private and recommended for exploration due to not recommended for exploration due to safety and security. You're gonna be down there with a fucking flashlight saying, "So our next story."
That would be.
Do you hear a little scream in the background?
Dude, the amount of views.
So it is claimed that there are secret tunnels, prohibition, yada. Okay, go down. Keep going. This is history. That's boring. Go down. Let's get to the good stuff. Finger Lake tunnels today.
This seems too positive to say anything about.
There are theories that trafficking goes on below the Finger Lakes. Yeah. Watchdog groups monitor the area, sometimes to no avail. Sometimes I do feel like what would be obvious is actually never where they do it. Right?
Yeah.
Like
I just thought you'd like the topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is that a real tattoo? He has that?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
How crazy is that?
That's sketchy, man.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, that was some biblical shit when he started porking the wife of his brother. Like, you're a little off if you're doing that.
Did you watch all of the videos that they released to him? I sure did.
Oh yeah, of course.
sure
I mean,
did.
they're hilarious.
Bro, I swear you're gonna.
I'm so.
You are gonna think I'm lying to your face. He walks up into
We
a
actually
corner.
can't show these because they all have drugs in them.
We can
can't.
watch them.
Not on camera.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn it.
We should. We shouldn't do those. We shouldn't do those. But
We'll show you after.
this is all you need to know. Imagine he is a TikToker setting up his phone to hit a TikTok dance. But what he's actually doing is propping it up in the corner, ass naked, going into a sensory deprivation take. hitting a crack pipe and laying down.
Oh, I did see that. I saw that.
How
Yeah.
crazy is that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the meme? The meme that says like normal people when they go to drink. Hunter Biden
Yeah,
whenever he
I
goes to
saw
do
that.
crack and it's got like 1,000 GoPros on.
Yeah, I did see that. What a fucking weirdo.
He's you know what?
Yeah, but one
it's
of-
very sad because he is a full blown. I mean, it's a known. It's
scary.
been a known thing for a long time. He's a horrible addict.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll get away from this. One of our stories I am planning. I don't know the whole narrative of it yet, but you're gonna know what it's about when I tell you the setting, and we don't really have to go into it too much.
Let's give a preview. Come on.
Yeah, we're exploring the northwest side of the country, Washington kind of area, just in that area, and we come across an odd gathering in the woods that has an owl statue.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bohemian Grove. Get our Friday on. I go to Bohemian Grove all the time. It's fucking great. I love it. It's not that bad.
I just looked up Bohemian Grove only because Ryan Garcia is going off.
Yeah.
Oh
about-
yeah.
Which I think is all fake.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's
he-
very fake.
I mean, I feel for the guy. He probably has CTE. He looks
Yes,
like he's
he
all
does.
fucked up now. He's probably on drugs. But, you know, do I think
That's
he's...
it. That's
yeah.
the owl though.
Yeah.
is it.
So I'm trying to figure out how I could fit that into a narrative where we come across, but it's very similar to the society, so I have to figure out something else with it.
What is this, though? This is real.
I mean, depends who you ask. You ask Richard Nixon, he's going to give you an interesting quote, or you ask people that go, they're like, oh, we go there, we do plays, we drink and have fun.
Right,
It's a
it's
nice
like
men's
a-
club.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely some secrets of the world,
Yeah.
you know, in those types of places, you know?
Yeah, we just did one that's dropping on Wednesday. It's not finished, but it's going to drop Wednesday about us, me and Sam, actually, me and my boy Sam, doing the Appalachian Trail. Yeah, and there's some trail angels that are acting a little bit. You know
What?
you know what a trail angel is? A trail
I'm
angel.
from Jersey.
Yeah.
Been on 2 hikes in my life.
Yeah. A trail angel is usually, if I were to generalize it, is an older woman that likes to do trails, that wants to be very kind to people that she passes, and she gives them food and drinks. That's
It's like
usually
the
what
plot
it
of Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, something like that.
is. Kinda. And when you're like active, like you do trails a lot, people give you like trail names and stuff. So you have like an alter ego when you go onto the trails, and people are nice, and there's trail angels that give out gifts. But we painted these 2 trail angels as like, man, they're a little bit odd, and they're acting a little bit too euphoric, and they look like they're on a party drug. The way that they're looking around, the way that they're like touching, and like they're not regular trail angels. And then they track us, and they keep following us, and they try to slip us stuff, and then it goes into like feral people of the Appalachian Mountains, but not how you'd expect it.
This isn't out yet.
No, it drops Wednesday.
What is your... I know you forget a lot of them. What's your favorite video you've made?
Superstition Mountains was good.
Oh, yeah, I watched that one.
Superstition
That was the
Mountains
one
was
in
good.
Arizona?
Yeah, we.
Yeah.
So apparently
Is
there's
that one real?
No, absolutely not.
God damn it!
No.
I thought you were the
2.
most interesting
We're 0
person
for
I've
2.
ever
Get him
met.
out.
just it's just writing. It's just writing and performing.
Okay.
It's but we have to research these things extensively, you know. So
Yeah.
we find the Superstition Mountains, which is a mountain range in Arizona where apparently there used to be a gold mine there, and people would pull gold out of the mountains and things of that nature. And then me and my friend Abdullah go there, and as a bit, we're like, hey, we're gonna kind of look for the gold mine. We're not actually looking for it. We're doing it as like a boy, like, yo, we're gonna find this shit while we're out here hiking, you know? Like, look, that's a clue, you know?
Yeah.
And a dude on his deathbed gave like clues to where his mine was. So it was the Dutchman. I forget his actual name, but they called him the Dutchman. It was the Dutchman's mine. And as we're going, things happen where we see like fool's gold, and we kind of start to get that greed. It's all about the entire story is about greed and how people turn on each other for money. So by the end of it, we think we saw fool's gold, and the ranger that's guiding us, or the trail guide that's guiding us, is telling us like, dude, that is pyrite, that is fool's gold, like that has no value. Please don't actually try to follow this. And it's this, we're trying to convince this guy that we're not actually looking for the gold anymore, but me and Abdullah both think like we saw the gold, we're actually going to get it.
Now you're in.
And greed overtakes us, and we're trying to convince him to keep going and keep going towards these. And then there's other supernatural things that are going on, defending the mine or things where you get lost in there. At a certain point, me and Abdullah turn on each other, and then it's greed overtakes us, and then we eventually get out. But it's all about greed. Everything has all the stories have a theme. Too.
Yeah, you have a clear...
Yeah. Society was about morality. Society was about being a good person and being in touch with a higher power, not like praising yourself for everything that you do. Like, know that everything you do here has consequences. And even if you don't believe in the afterlife, it has a consequence of who you are. Like, you're tainting your heart. You got to keep your heart clean. Like, your heart is like a mirror. You have to polish it.
When did you start to think about this?
I I tore my labrum in my hip doing jiu-jitsu, and I had surgery, and I was taken away of everything I enjoyed. And then I took like a SARM to try to, a SARM is like almost like a steroid, it's like almost like tren, to try to build muscle back.
Don't point at me, like, I'm not on tren.
No, you said it.
Just the audience.
Like tren. Similar to that, because I couldn't heal. Like my body wouldn't heal. It just had like this traumatic thing that was like, you can't do the things you love anymore. So I was taking substances to try to get back to who I was, instead of just sleeping and healing. And at the same time I was taking that, I took like an energy drink, and I had a major like anxiety attack. Yeah. And I thought I was having a stroke. And I was stuck in like a 6-month period of my life of like pure depression. Like I can't explain it. It was like everything was low right after this horrible anxiety attack that happened in the middle of COVID, where I can't go and do anything or see my friends.
Yeah.
I don't have a job. So I'm just stuck at home. This thing happened. It's 4 feet of snow in Chicago. I can't go to the doctor. And every 10 minutes, my heart is getting to 160 beats per second. And I'm like, I'm going to die. So I literally, like, then those questions of morality start coming. So that's the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you strike me as a guy through the writing, and I guess both of you in this case, you know, you're like extremely well read. So it's interesting when you said early on in the conversation, like you just cared about sports. And fighting outside with all the dudes on the Facebook mashups.
Yeah.
Like growing up.
But I feel like, and you could attest to this too, you train, fighting completely correlates with being a good person.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is like when you're surrounded by people who are capable of extreme violence.
Yes.
You immediately feel like you guys are the barrier between the innocent and the bad.
It's the idea of knowing if you had to, you could. Like I wasn't jiu-jitsu. I was born with dislocated hips and I have 2 blown out shoulders. So I was a boxer, right? Yeah. But I trained around guys who were pros. One of my friends like went pro, was really good. And there is something there that like they're the calmest guys in the room. A lot of them, not all of them. Sometimes you run into a dude who's always looking for action, but they're like that because they know what they can do, and so not everything. It's almost like the training itself pulls them back to zero, and everything else is zen. Yeah.
I also think growing up where I grew up, and just situations I've seen and things I've been around, and things I've done, I wasn't positive I was a good person. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And I had to choose to be.
You had to choose.
I had to choose to be a good person.
What made you think you were a bad person?
You do bad things. You never done something bad?
Like, sure, but but what kind of bad things?
Fighting, hurting people, being incredibly, like when you're young and you don't think of people as people, things I've said to my parents, the way I've treated people, just very selfish, just very like dismissive, zero empathy because you're young and immature.
How did you combat that?
5 years of sobriety, showing up for communities every day. I've proven who I am. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's the only thing you can do is be the good person tomorrow, you know, and forgive yourself.
Do you think some of it though is it's an averaging out, and what I mean by that is, you know, even today, like once in a while, you know, you may get short with someone. That's a bad thing.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Like we all do things that are wrong.
Yeah.
But like if we are far more good or far more looking out for the right reasons for our fellow people, be it family, friends, whatever, that kind of balances.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. No, I don't think, I just don't think anybody is inherently good or bad. I feel like every man, especially men that's like capable of incredible violence, needs to be very aware of what's going on in him.
Absolutely.
Because the consequences are so much higher. So you have to really look at all the factors in your life of like, I'm the pillar of this. I could do something very bad or I could do incredible good. And you have to do it every day. And you have to polish your heart every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, this is the kind of thing that I think you're naturally, you don't, I mean, I'm sure some people do, but you don't really think about this when you're like 20 years old.
No.
Right? If there's something that happens when you get past like age 25 where you start to realize like, oh, maybe you're now far enough removed from college or high school. The world is real. You got bills to pay. You know, you're succeeding or most likely more failing. And you start to then think about your place. And I always thought like, well, you know, I've only ever lived between my ears. Maybe that's just like me doing that. And then I talked to more and more people over the past 5-6 years. And they'll have, like, even if they had different conversations with themselves, they'll have similar moments around a similar time where, like, you just start bringing all that in. But I will say, like, the fact that you're only 27 years old and you speak of things from the perspective with which you do, and you also have a long-term track record already of being the person you are and the worker you are and things like that. You got a great, beautiful relationship as well. That's winning in life, right?
Sure
like, that's really that's really impressive, man.
Yeah,
you should be proud of that.
It's just, I mean, I wish I could tell we all do that. You know what I'm saying? I look around this room and I see dudes with like you have goodness in your eyes. You've chosen to be good. You too. You guys have good energy. Him too. I can't see your eyes over the computer, but I could see. Yes. You know, I think it's very important, and I think I struggled with it a lot, and I think it actually goes into the storytelling because I think of bad shit of what is the worst thing that could happen? What is the choice here that's good? Who am I giving that choice to in this time? I usually don't give myself the good choice. I let myself be the person that comes to a short, immature answer, and I give the right choice to a differerent character.
You or Jess?
Yeah.
Who's doing the giving there?
Yeah. It's just like there's just lessons. I mean, I guess that is the art of being a storyteller. It's like there's different perspectives to everything that happens to you, and you need to come at it with the right perspective. You know, and I'm lucky. I had good influences, like being in jujitsu schools. You know it. Yeah. There's good dudes there. Yes. There's good men there, and I was just surrounded by it since I was 18. Where every single person that comes on the mat is the leader in their life, and I'm talking to grown men when I'm 18, and they're here, and I'm here every day, sitting on the mats after for hours, and they're telling me how to be a man. So it's just putting yourself in those situations opposed to putting yourself in bad situations. Like I didn't go to college. I went to college for 2 weeks. I had a cup of coffee and I left.
What made you leave?
I took a psychology class where...
Of course you did.
Yeah. I had to.
What a surprise.
Yeah. There was like 5 options. Yeah. And one of them still was psychology. And the teacher said a mandatory book that we had to purchase was her book. And it was about her daughter's first period.
Come on.
And I was like, you're quacks. I'm leaving.
That's insane.
Yeah. And then I went to and I was already right there. I was like, all right, I'm pretty much done, but I have 2 more classes for the day. Maybe next class will go good. It was piano class. And I walked into the room and I was like, I don't see any fucking pianos. And they had us download an app on our phone.
Nah, out.
And play on here. And I'm like, okay, so that's a little silly, right?
Did you go to Phoenix University?
I went to Glendale Community College.
South Harmon.
Yeah, right. Institute of Technology. That's a great. That's a sleeper.
I know.
And then I went to my next class, and it was a high school algebra class because my tests going in didn't do all my English tests. Fantastic. As you can tell.
I don't doubt that.
But math, they're like, you're high school level. And I'm like, I'm not even high school level. But I went in and I studied for 4 hours and we had like a test and she was like, you got a 42. And I was like, damn, that's not
good.
That's not great. And she was like, it was 42 out of 250. And I was like, okay, yeah, I studied for 4 hours. I really tried and I didn't do it well. And I was like, well, I think I'm done. And then I left. I never went back.
Math is one of those like crazy things where if you don't have a math mind, you're banging your head at the wall and hoping it breaks. Like there's no hope at certain points.
I did notice, and I don't have I have a hate for the school system for sure. I went to Chicago public schools. It's the worst. It's so bad. There was like 5,000 kids in my graduating class.
Holy shit!
Like every class I had like 45 to 60 kids in every class.
That's
insane.
It was a jungle. Yeah. It was crazy. Every single day was crazy. It was fun though.
I'm sure.
And luckily, after my sophomore year, we got a new principal, and he kicked out every bad kid of the school. So my senior year was amazing, so fun. Yeah. But it was just wild. And so I have hate for the school system in that way. But I did have a lot of really great teachers, so I don't fully hate it.
Interesting.
Yeah, like history. I noticed it was
hard to be a great teacher with 60 students sitting in front of you, age 14.
Yeah. English teachers and history teachers. Like I noticed a pattern that they're actually teaching us stuff and they're pulling up cool shit and actually teaching us about the world.
You know why?
Why?
Because they tend to be, and it's not always this way, but my experience, they tend to be the more creative people.
Really? Yeah.
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 Storytelling, story creating.
Yeah. And then history. I love history.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you a big history buff?
Exactly. I can tell you are, and that's what I'm saying. History is stories.
Yeah.
Right? There's a creative endeavor to that. Technically, everything's history. Something we did yesterday is history now.
Yeah.
Right? So, I at least like it's funny you say that because like when I think of my best teachers over the years, there was other subjects where I had good ones too, but like consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are 2 classes. I had some fucking good ones.
Yeah, history. Yeah, it was. I always joke with her. I'm like, when I have stress dreams, it's not about the everyday life that we have. I have stress dreams that a foreign government is like coming and oppressing us, and I'm fighting our way out of it. Like I know. You think I'm crazy? You think I'm crazy?
Wow.
John's like, yeah, I was thinking about that on the way in myself.
I gotta up my dream game up, man. I'm weak.
Like she'll be
Stick
like,
with me, kid.
Fuck.
she'll be like,
Can't take the kid out of Wayne, you know?
yeah.
Jesus.
She'll be like, I had this dream about this, and it was like, like a regular bad dream of like something bad happened in her life, and I'm like, I was carrying you out of a house, and there was communists. And I swear, and I wake up and I'm like, well, I'm really happy I live in here, and then I get really happy because we get to live our life,
right.
and then but all like free time, it's stories and then fear of oppression. I know that's what I mean by like I'm going over scenarios in my head constantly, and even when I'm sleeping.
Did you have like experiences learning about or living under in some way? Oppression.
No, my parents were very like do whatever you want.
Right, that's how it seems.
Yeah, I don't know.
You feel oppression like on a day-to-day basis?
Feel oppression?
Fear. Oppression.
Fear, yes, every day.
Really?
Bro, I think
you?
about foreign entities on a daily basis infiltrating our beautiful American way of life.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
And maybe this is just like no-brainer. Like thinking about it can't fix it even if it happens.
No, but you could be prepared.
Can you?
I don't know.
That's a fair question.
Like that's my whole thing about like, even conspiracy theories. You're asking yourselves questions to like, even if you have the answer, you don't know if it's going to be ever the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so like you're prepping for what? And look, the reality is if America wanted to take you down as a government, your little pistol that's sitting in your cabinet is not going to save you. You know, like I don't know what else to tell people. You know, that's sort of my thing. I think your risk to reward ratio when it comes to like the bunker folk.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem accurate.
You're so right. If I could leave it behind me, I would.
Right, and that's why we have everybody has like irrational fears and anxieties they just can't let go of, and you wish you could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
100%.
It's just one of those things.
I try to not think about it. I try not to think about it. It's just something that I notice is a consistent thing in my life, and it's like I don't know why.
It's like he's like, what do you think about it? Like,
but it's actually kind of good because I'm so happy all the time.
That's right, because you're like, oh, thank God it doesn't.
Because I'm like, we live in the most horrible places exist right now.
Right.
North Korea exists right now.
It does.
And I know that this.
Didn't you just see Yingming Park in the airport?
Yeah, we just saw her and we were like, oh my gosh, that's her. Yaomi Park. She's a North Korean defector.
Big titties.
No.
Yeah, they
Pull her up. Pull her up. She was in the airport?
We saw her. So, like, she was on Rogan. She is a defector of North Korea. She escaped North Korea.
Yeah.
Very tragic story. Very well spoken. She's very, very smart. And we had watched a bunch of her stuff recently because I was teaching Jess about North Korea and why she should fear it deeply in her heart.
She's like, no, I shouldn't.
And by the end of it, by that lesson, we did it for like 8 hours straight. She looked at me. She goes, "I love America." No, what'd you say? She said, "America is great. I love it here." And I was like, that's how you should feel every day.
You really should.
Yeah.
And you realize like foreign people know or feel that way more than we do sometimes.
Yes.
You know, the people that are like
Pull that up, John.
the people that complain about this country are the ones that have never really been outside this country.
That's right.
So like I know how you could see it like maybe it's like I'm like troubled by it. I'm so happy every
You almost
day.
see it like the appreciative side of
Yes.
what you really
Yes.
are. That's a really good way to
Yes, it's like I rooted in gratitude on a daily basis. I wake up from a stress dream of Nazis tearing down my windows, and I wake up and it's beautiful sunlight, a fresh cup of coffee, my girl and my dog, and we get to go work out in my basement and write stories, and I'm like, life's good.
That's a really good, because I sometimes struggle with gratitude, and I'm like, oh, you know, I'll run through the motion like, oh, thank you for my family and my life and yada yada. But maybe because I never put myself in genuine fear of what if I was living in North Korea? You know, what if I had to worry about a bomb striking my building every day? Like those are realities for other people.
Yeah, I tell her 1 week out of the month, I have to go into like full man mode and just listen to horrible, terrible podcasts about oppression and fear. And then I feel better after.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it helps.
Give me
It
some of
helps
these.
with-
Give me some of this podcast. I want to start doing that.
Oh, you just got to look it up. Just literally just
Like
North Korea.
oppression, North
Yeah,
Korea.
you could look up vlogs in North Korea. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, North Korea is. I had Wally Green in here who.
So I started a conversation with my guy, and the conversation started like this. I said, look at every major country in the world. They have influence from the world. She said, that's not true. Everything in our country was done by our great leader and this and this and that. And I said, yeah, but you know, your great leader has Western influence. Now I'm going into the yellow.
You said that?
It gets better. It gets better. So now
How'd she look at you when you said that?
she gave me this look. She says,
When he's a international professional ping pong player, and so he voluntarily went to North Korea. Like, how many years ago was that, Alessi? Like a decade ago?
Yeah.
There's video of it. I don't know if we can pull up the video on his YouTube. Go to Wally Green's YouTube page.
That's insane,
of him
dude.
playing ping pong. But he's such a loving guy. Like, hey, everyone, be friends. And he had a crazy childhood and a horrible childhood, and is just such a good guy. Go to Shorts. It's right there actually. But he went to North Korea and he ended up being there for like 5 days, and just the way he talks about that experience and almost not getting out of the country and how the people are just dead to the world with their expression because they don't know anything else. He's like, oh wow, they really actually don't understand how anything works because their world has just been shut off. But at the end of this, I think it was this match. Was this the one, Alessi, where he goes up and he makes sure he hugs the guy? Yeah, go to the end right there.
Oh, like, how do you feel
I bet they didn't like that he got hugged.
Well, the guy ended up having a huge smile. The guy wanted to pull away, and then he ended up having a huge smile.
How do you feel about beating a guy like that?
Watch. He goes and he pulls him in, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And then he was like, "Whoa!" And afterwards, people were actually in the stands cheering him. They started with "boo" because like American, no good. And then they're like, "Oh wow, connection."
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Bro,
That's so interesting.
let me put some fear in your heart. They don't have
Please.
Yeah, they don't have a word. They don't have a word for me. You are not an individual there.
Yeah.
They don't have a word for love. Like, I can't say, bro, I love you. They don't have that. I'm not allowed to love you. We have us as a collective.
Yeah.
And we can love our government. They don't have words to build in like individual connection.
Wow. Again, thinking out loud is like, imagine just giving one of them a compliment. How great they'd probably feel.
No, they wouldn't get it.
Yeah, but you see that guy loved what happened there, but then he like walked away. He's like, "Wow, what just happened?" Like,
Right.
He just took a little hug.
He's like, wait, was that real?
Yeah.
Like, what was that feeling I just felt?
Yaomi Park said that when she first escaped, she wanted to go back because she couldn't handle the decision making or the individuality that came with being an American. She said, I would go back. It was so hard because the amount of bandwidth that it takes to make decisions on a daily basis, she was programmed not to do it. So she was like, if I had food, if they gave me enough food to eat every day, I'd go back.
Wow.
Because it was so overwhelming for her.
Again, there's like, there are the people that say, I don't want government involved with my life at all.
Yes.
But like, there is structure to society for a reason.
Yeah.
And people telling you what to do is sometimes
That's a
good
whole
thing.
nother level, though. That's like,
Not saying that, but
Yeah.
there is like a middle ground here. That's insane that she even that was a thought process of like, I would like it better over there.
Yeah, because they make the decisions for you. Yeah.
And that's the thing too, like growing up, if you don't know anything else, maybe they're just as happy as us. I don't, you would assume no, you know, but like, how do we really?
I don't think they know what happiness is.
No.
I think they know. I mean, I don't live in their brain, but I don't think it's possible to have a concept of that if you don't have a concept of self. You know, the happiness is based on a litany of factors in your life, but at the core of it, whether it be outward or inward, there is a basis of love to it.
Right.
And if you are in a society where you are not even recognized, therefore the other person is not even recognized as a person, as in other people around you, there is no capacity to truly feel love. You only feel fear. That's why when you hear, you know, some of the dictators, there's famous movie lines with this, but there's famous historical lines with this, where some of these tyrannical people will say, would I rather be feared or loved? And they'll say feared, because then they can dictate who loves, right? And that's such a fascinatingly, really treacherous part of humanity, where people can decide we're going to take that from other people. And they were born to take a shit on the earth the same way we were. You know, not on the earth, but you know what I mean? Like, we're all born the same, but something changes based on where we're born and the opportunities we get from that.
So interesting.
And I think another reason I'm very interested in this stuff is because you get to see pure evil, right? You get to see complete power and how it manifests and the things that they do to control and the things that they do to manipulate people. And usually bad people are manipulating people, right? To do bad things. Like we do one about like a cult leader, right? How does the cult leader operate? He operates the exact same way a communist leader operates. He takes away individualism. He gives you a false idol, which is him.
That's right.
Right? And then there's certain rules that take away choices. And you see everything evil all has the same guidelines, and it all is just pulling you away from the same thing. And it's just very, I don't know, it helps me with writing because we get to add details about really powerful historical leaders that did horrible things to a small guy who's like a cult leader in the Appalachian Mountains. And he's operating the exact same way as like an early Stalin or early Hitler did. Yeah. And the people, they don't know that. But when you get to describe the way that he's going about something and the way that he's manipulating his people, and they don't know the historical base of it, but it adds so much more, it's so much heavier. Because even though you don't know where it's coming from, you can see how that would work.
Right.
You feel me?
It almost makes it easier to understand.
Yeah.
You ever seen this channel? The BioLi?
No.
So this is my boy Jamal. We just had him here, actually. And that was, you want to talk about doing the right thing with stuff? Where, you pay it forward with people. When I had the high school kid, George, in here, who's fucking awesome. He does this podcast, just reaches out to these people around the world. And like sometimes they hop on. He had this guy on his podcast before he ever showed his face on YouTube. He just started showing his face. It was always a faceless channel. And so we're in here talking about it I had George come here to record his podcast where I was a guest. And he brought this up. I'm like, I want to get this guy in here.
This is a great idea.
And he fucking got him here. And so Jamal was here for a couple of days. He is such a fucking interesting guy, but he has made videos where he's going to do some real history now too, but it's always been, he breaks down the psychological evil of pop culture villains.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, side note here, some of the style of his channel, I want you to look at too for like the B-roll. He's a genius with B-roll. Okay. And like if you had some of the stuff he does, your subs are going to like quadruple overnight, like for sure. Yeah. But like the way that he delves into how these people think, like we're talking about fake people, but they're created from the minds of real people, which means there's an existence of these traits in the world.
So cool.
Dude, John, they're addictive.
I want to watch the Tony Soprano one. You know what's interesting? I mean,
addictive.
Yeah, I could see why. Everybody that we've pulled up that has like a popular video is from like 3 years ago. I've yet to see, even like when I do my own research, so like YouTube channels, I haven't seen anybody that's like blowing up now, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's more spread out because there's more creators too. You know?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like nowadays, the landscape is there's so many people in it. Who do you know now that's like they're taking off at this moment? I don't.
Well, a part of it's also the name of the game being consistency, right?
Yeah,
so if you're he's putting out his videos are doing good views every time he puts it out, right?
I saw that.
So he's getting better and better at it. He's going to expand what he does, and then you'll be pulling this up a year from now, and suddenly the top 3 videos will be from the last 3 months. That's just kind of how it goes.
It's interesting, and I'm again analyzing from this perspective. Like you see his top 8, 3 of them are shorter, and then
he doesn't have a length.
4 of them are shorter. But then the other ones he makes are no. But if you saw those recent ones, he's making them like a little bit longer.
This guy will sit down. He takes fan requests, right? So it's not like he's seen everything. Yeah. If someone requests a TV character, it is a requirement he has for himself. He will sit down and watch the entire series.
Really?
Sometimes like 1.5 times because he's got to go back to take some new notes.
Yeah.
But like,
where does he find the time?
He's a savage, dude. He's so smart and he's so locked in on what he does and like he knows what he wants in life. And he's also very, and you'll hear this on the podcast when we put it out. It's a really fun podcast, but he's very aware of his own flaws and his own psychological consequences of his upbringing. He is one of the most self-aware people I've ever met. Almost to a fault where like he said a couple things like when we were going to dinner afterwards where I'm like, I think you're being too hard on yourself. I think you're wrong about that.
Right.
But he's just he's in his head all the time because he's in these people's heads.
Yikes.
It's crazy.
That's scary.
That's fucking nuts.
That goes like the acting stuff where somebody like plays a villainous guy.
Yeah.
I've acted one time. I was in a short film that my aunt produced, and it was like it was in film
Sons of Anarchy Aunt?
Yes. Yeah. So it was a pretty big production. It was cool, but I was like 19. So I didn't really understand the weight of it. But it like kind of it was a. I don't know how to explain it. It was like, it made me understand actors and how you have to be in that scene as hard as you can. And it's so physically draining. And I always say, like, if I did acting again, I would want to play an evil character. I think it would be sick.
Depends how often you're doing it.
I wouldn't want to do it often. I don't want to act often either. I don't particularly want to act. But it just seems cool to do like a piece of work that stays. You know, it's like movies don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
YouTube videos, I do in a year I'll have 40 uploads that just like bury this video. But if you do a movie,
Godfather's the Godfather, bro.
Right.
Exactly.
Forever and ever.
Yeah.
Our kids will know about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the great actors, and we always make fun of actors with some of their nuttiness and stuff, and some of that's fair. But like, there's something that goes into you being able to do that thing, tap into that thing. You gotta be a little different.
Yeah.
Right.
Like John Bernthal.
Yeah.
He's sweet.
Love
like
John.
John's
Love
so
John.
cool.
I want to get John on the show. He's buddies with Ryan Tate, but. Yeah, there's something different that goes into that, and you see a lot of these, even with some of the villain stuff. A lot of these guys are pure method actors, and it can drive them nuts. I mean, to this day, I'm fairly certain that's what killed Heath Ledger.
Yeah,
because he went full method into the Joker. He became that guy. I mean, that's why I didn't want to, like, when I thought about being an actor in college pretty seriously. That's why I didn't want to do it, because I felt like for the first, I was telling you this the other day, Alessi, but I felt like when I was in college, I finally in the last few years come into my own where I felt comfortable just being myself. And it was such an addictive feeling. And then the idea of having to pretend to be other people for the next 40, 50 years of my life, and the method and the things I studied that would go into that, I'm like, there's no way that'd be good for me. There's no way that, like, I thought I'd be dead.
Yeah.
You know, there's just there's a different element that goes into things like that.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't like the lifestyle of it. I'm really big on routine. I like routine. I like having space to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And I feel like acting, I know it's hurry up and wait. I don't like that. Like, why? Like, I know the lines. Let's shoot. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, like we write one time, then we go record and we put it out and we move on.
It's such a good feeling, man.
You know, I get to do what I want. I get to sleep when I want, and then we work really hard. I work 12 hours in a row, but then I work at my pace.
So when you guys are sitting there writing, like you were talking about this a little bit earlier, but we got off it. So you said you wake up when you want. You fucking whenever you wake up, you go work out. Do you get right in and do you start writing, or do you have like an order to the day where we're gonna film something first today?
Depends what we finished last night. As far
totally depends.
Totally depends. It's if we have content that we are ready to record, we'll do that right after we work out. I'll drink a protein shake. I'll sit down. I'll go. If we don't have anything, then we don't have any concepts, we'll take the day off and we'll go watch stuff and get inspiration. And and Jess is off mic right now, but when you were talking about this too, I think when you're doing the recording, Jess, are you still writing it down there? You can come up to Alessi's mic right here. So we got you. Sorry, we had a full studio today. Are you doing like the writing while he's doing it, or are you helping him act it out? How does that usually go, like when he's actually recording?
I help him act it out. We write everything before, so there's no writing going on during.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because your tonality is so like well done, and it doesn't switch in and out lines. So you're keeping him balanced on that. Like, okay, he just had a reaction line, so I need to get that out of him to get the next line to sound similar to that. Does that make sense?
No, I would say she does more continuity during the writing process, and then she does what Alessi does. She produces.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah. And then once it's done, it's just like we kind of know, like, because I'm writing in my voice, so I know the parts. Because not only do we write it in my words, I lay down on the floor and she types it, and I speak out loud.
Why do you lay on the floor?
Because my back hurts if I sit too long.
Okay. I don't know if there was like a cycle. I don't know if there's
John's the most comfortable man in America. Anywhere he goes. His back never hurts.
I'm always slouching.
Literally, it's like I want to train tomorrow, so I don't want my back to hurt. And then sometimes it's so stressful because like if you think about it, it's a 25-page story, and that is daunting when you're on page 2.
How long is for you at your speed? 25 pages. How long is that video on YouTube? An hour.
An hour. Yeah, 17 is about 45.
That's a lot of reading out loud. Now, reading it in your mind, of course, you do that, but like out loud.
Yeah.
But like when you're laying on the ground though, like are you still like are you down here like I'm laying on the ground and I'm tired. I'm like, yeah, so this. Are you still like? So then I took him into the superstitious bounce, and then he got fucked up over there, and then went. Or is it like you turn off a little bit?
It's a little bit. It's a little bit more calm, but I'm saying the lines in a way that it's just everything's turned down 50%.
Wait.
So
This
I know
is the prep, the filming.
Yeah, because I don't want to just sit and write, because writing doesn't come out the same way your voice comes
Right, so
out.
she's literally word for word whatever you just said.
Exactly.
Because you can't do them at the same time.
So I could say the tonality, and even sometimes I notice that something's a bit too much of a tongue twister. I'd be able to write it out fine, but I can't say it.
You can't say it right.
So we're like, all right, let's change this, because so I get to say it one time. I'm like, that works. And when you say something out loud, you feel it a little.
So, well, and I'm sorry for cutting you off. Like, so when he just paused, when you say something aloud, will you put like ... and then you feel a little bit when you type it out for him?
Sometimes, or I'll just space.
Just
and then
like
start a new thought.
Okay, so he kind of knows where to pause, and that's interesting.
Because she's operating where she could relate to me as best as she can. So I let her map it out the way that her mind works. Like the way she organizes it, I'm not gonna be like, hey, make the document how I organize it.
No, of course
make
not.
the document how you do. So I say it, she organizes it properly, she delivers it, and then I put the spice on it.
What a cool way to work. What made you think of doing that?
The pressure cooker that Stairs story did on TikTok. We had to drop a 4-minute video of a narrative that we didn't know where the story was going every single night.
That's amazing.
And did you volunteer, like, hey, I'll type out what you're saying to make things easier, or you asked her?
My body was falling apart from editing for so long.
Right.
So I was like, my body hurts. Like, and I was just started laying on the ground, and it was 12-hour days. And at the time we didn't have the studio in our basement. Right. We lived in one bedroom in my parents' house, and we had to weave our way through a big active house and then get to this studio that's not in a good neighborhood, slip into the front door so nobody sees us go in. And then we're in this studio where we have to, when we order food, it's an issue because we can't see anybody, like nobody could see in when we reach out. Like,
God damn.
It's just like, it was this pressure cooker where we didn't have much time to get this done. And we had to figure out where the story was going, what the cliffhanger was. And everybody's incredible. Like, please tell us, like, we need the next part. And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know.
This is a lot, man.
Yeah.
This is a lot going on here.
Yeah.
I told John this was going to be like,
I'm getting
low-key fun
stressed out,
podcast.
dude. Holy shit.
And we did
John's going home going, Dad, you're fired.
Yeah, I need somebody else. We need to be doing more shit. I don't know what it is, but we need to do more. So you're telling the story twice. One time for her to write it down, and the second time. Wow.
Yeah, all in one day. So like at that time,
and you can work it out.
Now we finish it ahead of time. Luckily, because and mind you, we were poor. I'm talking poor. We didn't have, all my money went to the studio rent. So it's not like, and I was still working, like at that time I had just finally quit, but so we actually had every day to do it, but we didn't have, it's not like we'd be like, oh, the convenience of spending a lot of money on food here, the convenience of just like getting an Uber here. It's like, we are in this situation where something is popping off. We're not getting paid for it until next month. Mm-hmm. We haven't made any money yet. Yeah. And we have 5 million people demanding the next thing. And we have about 8 hours to do it. And we have to do it and drag it out as long as we can, because it's all about attention. Like, how can we get to a million so our life changes? So it was this absolute pressure cooker of where nothing in life was going how we wanted it to yet. And we had the opportunity to change it in a month. And we locked in, and we did it.
But you're also doing it with original shit. And what I mean by that is similar to what we talked about maybe like an hour ago. There are people who just have to follow trends. And then there are people who make a fucking drink with their dad and say, ooh, this is fun. There are people who are like, ooh, I'm going to make up a story that is wild, that unleashes all my creativity, and it's different. I've never seen a page called Story Boy or something like that. Like, that's totally original to me, right? And then people gravitate towards that. So the irony is that in this world where we're all playing catch up with everyone going, what are they doing? So we can do it too. When you are original and you actually have value behind that originality, you can win.
Yeah. And it's also being prepared for the opportunity, right? So I didn't know that this story thing was going to happen. We had no idea that, like, what route we were going down. I just knew how to edit. I taught myself how to edit. I taught myself how to build a production set. I put all of my extra money into a studio space kind of near my house and threw shit at the wall until somebody said, can you do that again for me? And then I was prepared to do it every single day because I had every skill to actually make it happen. I didn't need to outsource to an editor and he's like, hey, that's coming in 2 days. I didn't need to outsource to somebody for the design. I do all my graphic designing. I do all my editing up until recently. Awesome. So I was prepared. I just spent years learning for the opportunity. And then when the opportunity came, we had the skills and I had the support from my lovely girlfriend to help me through that process to now we have a base and we actually have income and we have a career here. But it all came from literally 5 years of teaching myself everything for that 1 month. And I knew in that 1 month, we're not doing anything else. We're living and breathing this. And then after that, everything changed.
I'd asked you earlier about your influences, and you talked about how it was really, like you said, you were just playing sports and stuff growing up. But like now that you've been doing this stuff for a while, and it does seem like you've talked about other social media people, so you're looking around to see what people do. Is there anyone in the film space or the writing space or whatever space who, you know, you look at like, oh wow, they're doing great work from like a storytelling perspective?
We didn't know about this. We didn't know about this guy, but now we do. Because also, mind you, like I was talking about how I polish my heart every day. I didn't watch horror movies. I didn't watch other than like history stuff. I didn't listen to music. I wouldn't listen to bad music. I wouldn't listen to anything that like put badness.
You wouldn't listen to music or bad music?
Like music that is like pushing bad things into you, like
rap and
certain types. I would listen to some rap, but it would have to be from like a perspective of like there's a good message in here. Right. I wouldn't watch horror movies. I wouldn't take in anything that was like bad for me, right? Bad for like my perspective on
like
the world.
Like as a kid, or like are we talking more adult?
Last 10 years.
Okay.
Last 10 years. So I wouldn't watch like scary, spooky YouTube videos. I just happened to tell, and it is like. Now I'm in like the spooky niche, but it started with just like stuff that happened to me. So I was just telling my experiences of life. And then you get into this thing that we're like, oh, we'll do something like this. So I'm like, okay, maybe we watch something a little bit spooky. So I had no idea who was in this niche. And it turns out there's this one guy named Mr. Ballen. And
oh yeah, know him well.
And everybody said, like, we get comments now because we're like doing better. They're saying like, you're copying Mr. Ballen.
Nah, I didn't think.
Who's Mr. Ballen?
He's a big storyteller. He tells missing 411 stories. Yeah. He tells other people's stories. He's really, really good. He does a green screen.
He's Amazon exclusive now for his podcast, yes. I think, right? So some of it's walled garden, but then he still has the full page on YouTube.
Yeah, and he's massive. And he blew up during COVID, so he blew up crazy, right?
Former Navy SEAL, too.
Yeah.
People always love that.
So,
wow, he's killing it.
Crushing.
Holy shit.
So now if you look at my thumbnails, you'll definitely see some inspiration from him.
Inspiration's fine.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was until well after the stairs story, because people were saying, you look like a young Mr. Ballen, you remind me of Mr. Ballen, and all this stuff. And I found him, and like during the time when we were grinding, I didn't have time to look people up. We were just trying to write stuff and do the next thing. Yeah. And then when we finally looked at him, I was like, oh, this guy's legit. This guy's good. And then you could see the psychology of the thumbnails. Obviously, if something works, use it, right?
His thumbnail isn't great though. Like I can't even read.
You know what? I've always thought the same thing, John, but he was around early enough that the sizing of who he is, people got used to it, and they are already looking for the expression, and it allows the image that he's doing to breathe. I've thought about this a lot because it's a fair point. It's like today, if you were launching a channel today, I would not recommend to do it that way.
Yeah.
But I'm jealous because I like that better. I would love it if none of our faces had to be in the pictures. We could just do the picture like Reilly does. But yeah, like that's why it works.
So once we looked at him, I was like, oh, I see the similarities. And then you see how he operates his YouTube, and you're like, okay, he did something like this, and then he found this formula for YouTube. And we were searching for inspiration of how are we going to run our YouTube channel? Because I did a basic podcast attached to my stuff too. I would tell one story on top of a podcast, and then they're like, we only want stories. So I was like, oh, okay, so I have to completely rebrand my stuff. And this was a person, once I checked him out, I was like, oh, so this is someone has already plowed this road.
Yeah. He's got to be killing it.
Yeah. So
yeah, he's murdering it.
But I wouldn't say I have, we get it. Like, I don't have any inspiration from him as far as like creatively, really. Just as far as like his business side gives me a lot of inspiration. But as far as like the actual content itself, not much.
But it's a good thing though. Like you're supposed to rinse and repeat things that work. You know what I mean? Like why wouldn't you?
Yeah, if a system works, use it, you know?
Are you, now that I wish I never went to this party, which apparently you never did.
Yeah.
No, that's blowing up. I was thinking about this. It's probably blowing up a little bit right now because people are out there looking for stories on this Diddy thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you looked at this lawsuit?
A little bit.
Who's suing who?
Oh. I love that you're here. This is awesome.
I'm only speaking for the people that, you know, I'm playing a game.
Diddy, obviously, you know P. Diddy. There's a guy, long before I ever did this, there's a guy who I got a chance to know pretty well through my uncle who's like, you wouldn't know who he was, but there's a reason for that. But he's easily like the most important person I've ever had a chance to know. Very nice guy. Always gave me the time of day when I had nothing to offer him, which I really appreciate. But he had told me point blank years ago, not what's in the lawsuit, but
you know,
This is what's going on.
like there's some shit like when you get invited around him, don't go. But this lawsuit comes out a couple, like 3, 4, 5 months ago, whatever it was, sometimes maybe like the end of 2023. This lawsuit comes out from, I think it was a singer, Cassie, or whatever, who claimed that there was a ton of shit in there, but she claimed that, you know, P. Diddy was abusive towards her. You can do the math on all that stuff. Had claims about his sexuality and things like that as it pertains to abuse across sexes. Like he's just like a nymphomaniac. Doesn't care. And then these newer lawsuits are coming out and they're not being covered in the media very much. But essentially, Diddy was running the music industry's version of an Epstein operation, but I won't give him as much credit for being like as sadistically smart as Epstein. P. Diddy is a fucking moron. But it's very sketchy, and it was always sketchy to me, that a guy who was essentially just a regular old New York gangster, like young, 2-bit, whatever, suddenly got control of Bad Boy Records and immediately made it the biggest record label in hip-hop overnight when he's like 24 years old, signs Notorious B.I.G., and he's a moron. I mean, the guy is a stone-cold moron.
You're saying something's up.
Something's up. And when I would always look and I'd see, you know, sometimes they'll do like, I guess the more public parties, the ones that aren't in this lawsuit, they do like, you know, the montage videos on social media. And I'd see they are sick. Yeah. I'd see all these people showing up, and I know some of those people. I'm like, there's no way they fuck with him. I'm like, why are they going? But essentially, I'm really truncating it right now. But he had thousands of cameras. There were cameras on everything in every room, just like Epstein. There was blackmail. There are trails to other label executives and stuff like that, you know, could lead to some espionage stuff. I don't know. Like, that's not really clear, but they are pushing this fucking thing under the rug about a guy who's been talked about in the industry as fucking crazy. So to pull it back to what you did, like you did this beautiful, like Dante's, I don't know if beautiful is the word, but this like imagery of like Dante's Inferno with this crazy, like eyes wide shut party and whatever. And I'd like to think that a lot of this stuff is just conspiracy brain, internet getting out of control. And I think a lot is. But that, like, 5%, that's real.
Did you get to the end?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we put into the end is, so there's this one YouTube video that I found like 10 years ago called Military Wife Tells All. Have you seen that?
I have seen that. Yeah.
It had
Chris Jesopini was pulling that up, I think.
It had like 10,000 views on it when I found it. And the details of that, how she goes about saying how they mess with people, was so specific and so freaky. And it's basically like, imagine you pissed off the wrong guy. Yeah. And you go home and you go to turn on your TV and your remote doesn't work. And you pop open your remote and the batteries are switched from positive to negative. And you're like, what the fuck? And you come home the next day and they're like that again. How do you tell somebody that? How do you tell somebody my batteries keep getting switched?
Because you're crazy if you do.
Yeah. You go and run any errand, you go back to your car and your blinker is hit down to like left turn. And every time you go in, your blinker is down.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. Where only you would notice, where if you told somebody that like somebody's following me, they're flipping my batteries, they're putting my blinker down, but realistically somebody broke into your house multiple times and broke into your car multiple times. How do you tell somebody that without them thinking you're schizophrenic?
That's right. It's such they know they can use that.
And you know what's so funny is I posted that as a reel, and that specific part of me like telling that part of the story, they all say like, this is clear paranoid schizophrenia. Hundreds of thousands of comments. You are schizophrenic. Get some cameras.
Damn.
That's right.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, and we would think like in the camera world now it's impossible to miss some of this stuff, but like it's not impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, Epstein killed himself off camera like a mile from here.
Did he?
You know? Yeah. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like, the cameras didn't work. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You know, like there's always a way. Like powerful people can find a way to push some stuff over. But I'd like to see you re-explore that with your imagination, I guess.
We try so hard to put very real stuff, and like, because that thing of somebody flipping my batteries scares the shit out of me. That would scare me. So that's what we use. You know, like finding a staircase in the woods that is pristine and untouched and we're in the middle of nowhere, that would scare me.
Oh yeah.
The little things. That's the type of stuff we do. Like a sleep paralysis demon is that one. I still don't know if I was dreaming. That one's about a sleep paralysis demon that you couldn't tell if it was a demon following us or a traumatized kid that lived in his childhood home that was actually a nun's house, and you can't tell if it was him or the demon at the end. Oh. But he said that he knew who the demon was. He's like, that's just giggles. He likes you. He's fond of you. But then the kid crawls back into the crawl space at the end, and we're like, was it him or the demon?
You don't know.
You feel me? So we try to do those, like where it's like that would scare the shit out of me. And actually, the house that story's based on is a house that I lived in Chicago. That was an old nun's house. When we first moved to Chicago, it was like that. And it was,
all right, there's some truth there.
Everything has a base of truth.
Has a base of truth.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, well, Dougie, this has been awesome, man.
This has been sweet.
You're doing a great job with your channel. You and Jess doing a great job.
There you go.
With your channel. Really enjoyed this conversation. We're going to put the links to your YouTube, your TikTok, your Instagram, all down below. But I'm wishing you all the best, man. Like, I know this is really going to keep going.
I appreciate that.
You clearly have the mindset, and you got the creativity, too. Like, that's the battle right there.
You guys are fantastic at what you do.
Oh, thank you.
This is super impressive. This is the first collaboration I've ever done with anybody. I'm so impressed. You guys are really great guys. This is like everything I wanted a collaboration with other creators to be. You guys are really high level, and I appreciate you guys letting us
Love to hear that, man.
Yeah.
I think we gotta spread the wealth and everything. You know what I mean? That's what the community's for. So thank you guys for coming out so much.
Of course.
This was awesome. But everybody else, you know what it is. Give it a thought. Get back to me. Peace.
Thank you guys for watching the episode. Before you leave, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and smash that like button on the video. It's a huge help. And also, if you're over on Instagram, be sure to follow the show at Julian Dorey Podcast, or also on my personal page at Julian D. Dorey. Both links are in the description below. Finally, if you'd like to catch up on our latest episodes, use the Julian Dorey Podcast playlist link in the description below. Thank you.